Hello, I'm Simon.
And I'm Dan.
And this is a special episode of the Wikicast, the podcast about random Wikipedia articles. Today, we're joined by a guest.
I'm Alex Lathbridge, comedian, scientist, better than the other two. And yes, I'm here to take over the podcast.
And incredibly enthusiastic about it, too.
How excited. And Alex, what article are we going to be talking about this week?
Well, this week, Dan, we are going to be talking about list of highways numbered 221.
Oh my god. It's
my favourite!
It's perfect.
It's the apple pie of highway lists. Okay, so hit us with it. What's on this article by any chance?
All right, first things first, the title. List of highways numbered 221. My favourite bit about this, 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. I mean, no one thinks about that, right?
Yeah.
Quick maths, that is.
Yeah. Quick maths. Okay, so, boom, straight into it. There are 4 key locations when we're thinking about highways numbered 221. Canada, China, Japan, and the US.
Amazing.
So, I got this the wrong way around then. So this, I thought that the title was like highways with numbers between 2 and 21 or something in a particular, but this is just highways with the number 221 anywhere in the world.
I mean, Simon, you have the PhD, you should know this. Yes, that's exactly what this is.
Brilliant.
Okay, but perhaps for the first time ever on the history of this podcast, I've got to ask, why does this have its own Wikipedia article?
You know what? Fair enough. There are some people who are into roads, okay? Let people have that, okay?
Some people are into baking, some people are into feet, others highways, 221 specifically.
And just remember, people that are listening, you can be into all 3 of the things, okay? They're not mutually exclusive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No shaming going on here.
No. We are very road positive here. So, first things first. Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Canada do you think? All right. Well, I mean, what places in Canada do you guys know?
Ontario.
British Columbia. Vancouver.
Yep, that one.
Quebec.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. There we go. Quebec. Quebec Route 221. That's a thing.
Wouldn't that be a rue? Like, is it in English?
Well, that's hilarious that you're making a pun. But a roux is actually a culinary term. It's when you mix butter, flour, and you can use it to make things like choux buns.
Isn't that a roux? Like one of those R's that English people can't pronounce?
No, I believe that's you putting on airs and graces.
Okay, right. So it's in Quebec. Where does it go from and where does it go to? Where's that to?
I mean, I have to click that link now.
Oh, that's dead to me, then. I don't care.
I mean, I can hover over it. Does that allowed?
Oh, teasers.
Yeah, go
I
on.
love it. Yeah,
Ooh,
do it.
show a bit of leg.
All right. Route 221 in Quebec. Quebec.
Quebec.
Route 221 is a north-south highway on the south shore of the St. Lawrence River, linking the Canada-US border south of Lacolie to Saint-Isidore.
Oh, beautiful.
So, I like how that was definitely an El Dorado type place. Presumably it's not anywhere near as romantic as that.
No, I assume that Saint-Isidore is
was it
like
called
in
again?
America. What? Saint-Isidore?
Saint-Isidore, where the streets are paved with asphalt, like everywhere else.
All right, if I keep it funky, then it's Saint Isidore.
Yeah. I prefer
thank you.
Saint. It's got a kind of a mysticism and exoticism.
Ooh.
Big fan.
Well, we should probably actually at this juncture explain, Alex. We have your name and we know that you're taking over, but at this point in time, you just sound like a road aficionado. So perhaps we should, before delving any further into the roads, who are you, and what do you do?
All right. I'll give you the spiel. My name is Alex Lathbridge. I am a comedian. I do sort of comedy shows up and down the country, making smart people feel funny and funny people feel smart.
Nice.
And it's enjoyable. I am a science person, like a communicator, I guess, a science communicator. So I do some of the stuff that Simon does, but I do it for things other than physics, because physics is for nerds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, completely. I am finishing up a PhD in biochemistry. I'm I'm just generally the best. Also, I run a podcast called Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet, which is essentially like, do you guys know QI?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. You seem like the types. And do you know it has a podcast called No Such Thing as a Fish?
A very good podcast indeed.
Yeah, so imagine that, but made by people under the age of 30, people of colour, and so they have pop culture references that actually bang.
Nice.
Yeah, you mean it's actually like a good version of it, basically. It's not, what's it, stale, what was it? Something stale and male.
Oh, you mean stale, male and pale?
That's the one.
Yep. Boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, that is what I do. Essentially, my goal is to become David Attenborough, but with the hairline of Reggie Yates.
I like it.
An honourable goal. Actually, I had a haircut today, funnily enough. I had that terror of going to a new barber's for the first time.
Wow.
And
once again, riveting tales on the Wikicast here. Simon, do tell us more.
Well, more.
Nice.
It was all right, actually. Like, because I went into this place and the guys had like workman like denim aprons, and I was like, I think I'm in safe hands.
Especially safe given because you asked for a perm this time, didn't you? And you only usually do that with your usual place. So
I did. I asked for the Marge Simpson full. I want to add 2 or 3 feet to my height to intimidate people, and it went very well. It's fitting through doorways is a problem, but it went pretty well. I've got to say, it's because this is all like I'm now doing everything for the first time because I've like moved and everything's completely new. And I'm still trying to work out where to avoid in town. But anyway, sorry, Alex, I just completely cut you up. The other thing we should mention is that the reason that, apart from obviously you're immensely talented and funny, we have been workout buddies for the past, how long? When did we start doing it?
Started in January proper.
Was it January?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Until you left.
I did.
You left. Yeah. You pissed off, didn't you?
I did the other week. I upped and left, and we had a very emotional goodbye, and then I came back a week later.
Yeah, emotional f***ing whiplash.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You got a bit of habit for doing that, actually. I mean, I remember we said a goodbye when you moved out, but then you actually stayed in Exeter for months, and then you went off again, and then you're usually back. You were back every other weekend to record.
I'm yo-yoing. It's got to be said. Like I just can't. I have trouble letting go. All right. It's just, but it's just a bro thing, right? It doesn't have to be weird. It's just a bro thing.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I know where your parents live now. I will go and have dinner with your dad. He called me a very charming young man.
Yes, that was because you said that he was attractive. You looked at the old pictures of my dad and were like, wow, he looks like he had it going on in his day. And then later I told Dad about this and he was like, he seemed like a very nice young man. Like, I like Alex.
See? That's what I do. I get in with the parents, and then when the children leave, bam, free dinner.
Cuckoo them.
Mm-hmm.
Just get in that nest. Cuckoo is alarmingly. Is that where cuck comes from?
Yes.
I never realised that. Huh. Makes sense. The more you know, everyone. For once, the Wikicast might actually facilitate learning. But okay, we've actually cut off the learning enough. I mean, what else is there about what was it? Highways 221 highways.
221.
Okay, can we actually momentarily go onto that tangent of you getting a new haircut?
Yes, please do.
How was it? Like, actually, how is it now?
It's fine. It's basically as it always has been. It was a 6 on the back and sides and a bit longer on the top. And no, it's not as fresh. It's not a fresh fade. And we're not going ahead with the idea of me going to your barber's at some point because I would look ridiculous. Why? I would look so ridiculous.
I think this has to happen now, though, doesn't it? Also, if I was to get a haircut and I was pleased with it, my adjective of choice wouldn't be fine.
But like, as a guy, I don't think you ever. Well, certainly, I've never come out of a haircut and gone, "Oh, that was fantastic." It's always just like it's a haircut. Like,
yeah, but fine implies just a kind of like an indifference. There's no kind of like, "Oh, I was quite pleased with it." If it was fine, it was they did things to my hair, and now I look different. The end.
Well, basically, that is how I feel about it. I gave this man 14 British pounds, and he cut
bloody
14 pounds.
I'm in Hertfordshire now. I'm closer to London.
Fine for 14 of your £14 sterling.
I'm from London, and I pay a maximum of £11.
I have to admit that is the most I pay for a haircut in a while.
We usually go to down in Exeter. There's a place very close to certainly where I live and where Simon used to live, Prestige, and that was £8, wasn't it?
If you're a student, yeah. I think if you're if you weren't a student, it was 10. But that was also really nice because I went there for long enough that like I got to know the people that worked there, and like you know, they were having building work done over the entire time I was there, and like I don't know, you felt like a regular. Whereas this time I was like complete newbie. It's like walking into a new game for the first time, just like, oh hey guys, can someone show me how to play?
You have a completely different relationship with hair than me. Like as a black man, a haircut that is fine, like. That's not acceptable. Yeah. You know, everything needs to be perfect.
I was just reading actually about this in The Good Immigrant. I can't remember which essay it was, but there was somebody wrote an essay about black culture in barbershops across Africa.
Yep.
Which was super. I mean, you'll know this better than I do, I'm sure, because you gave me the book. But yeah, like it's a completely different culture around barbers. Like I don't know, am I a weird Dan as a white guy for just being like, you know, it's fine? Like
I think weird might be a bit aggressive. I think certainly for you've got quite a normal face with normal hair.
Thanks, mate.
That's all right. Don't worry, that's fine. Whereas the reason I say that, for someone like myself who has a forehead such as mine to contend with.
Did you say forehead?
Forehead. I mean, I've got to be very careful with what happens with my hair, otherwise I might end up looking resembling a turnip, as I currently look like in my passport photo, which is really kind of not helpful at all. So if I was walking into a haircut and it came out as fine, I mean, I'd have to probably become a recluse for several months, probably wear a hat all the time. Whereas you just whenever you had your haircut, it would come back, and as you described it today, yeah, it's a bit shorter than it normally is. Like that's perfectly acceptable.
I've hit my local minima of like, I know that this haircut suits me, and I haven't changed it for the past probably 15 years.
No. Okay, look, because I went through that because I used to have because I used to have a two all over and then a shape up. And my beard shaped up because, yes, I'm only 25 now, and at age 10, I did have a beard.
Wow. Yeah, me too. It's so annoying, isn't
it? Don't lie, Dan. All right, don't.
When you haven't shaved for a week, Dan, your top lip just looks out of focus. Like that's not a beard.
Yeah, I resemble a peach.
Yeah, exactly. I look quarter Hungarian. Yeah, completely different. But yeah. So I tried recently, I say recently, about 2 years back, skin fade on the side. And I'm telling you, Simon, and you, Dan, by extension, both of you should come to my barber's, all right? 11 quid, it will be amazing. You'll come out and, you know, however you swing, wherever you are on the Kinsey scale, you will be swimming in it.
There we go. It's actually, no, it's really, it's alarmingly coincidental that you mentioned this, because I mentioned in last week's episode how I've become vaguely obsessed with the assorted food guys on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
One of the hosts there, Barry, looking over kind of, because I'm fairly sure I've watched the vast majority of their output since they became a thing now, which is an embarrassing number of videos I don't want to go into. However, his haircut game has changed quite drastically over the last couple of years, and he's now rocking a kind of a skin fade thing, not so kind of undercutty as to look weird, but I'm tempted. I'm very tempted.
I think you should go for it. I mean, like, because you have changed your haircut. Like when I first met you, you looked like Aslan.
Yes.
And then you went for the Sue Perkins.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, this could be your new look.
It could be. I think, we're going on tour. The Chapel Choir are going on tour on Friday. I think I might, given the hot weather, and to try that as an excuse. God, how middle-aged do I sound? Well, it might get quite hot. I'll have a haircut. I think I might do it.
Do it. Honestly, do it. Post pictures. Because I think it could suit you.
If I look like I look like a but I've got some time to grow it back, so we're all right.
Well, like, because I played it safe for this, because I'm doing a gig. I'm filming for the European Central Bank this coming weekend. And I was like, I don't want to. This is not the time to experiment with like some wacky haircut.
So wish it was.
Yeah, you don't want to rock up to the European Central Bank. It's in Germany, right?
Well, we're doing a conference in Portugal.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Trans-European. In any case, you don't want to rock up looking like a white nationalist.
No. Yeah, there is that. Like, because that was my old haircut. I used to get a 3 or 2 or a 3 all over.
Jesus Christ.
Like, hang on.
No, you can do it. You can do it.
If you go on my first... Is it still on there? I think if you go on my Facebook profile pictures and go to my first ever profile picture...
Radio silence as we all
That's
as
like,
we all find
that
this photo.
was the longest my hair would get. Like, I'll see if I can find like a shorter version.
Simon, I'm not looking at pictures of you. I know what you look like.
But just imagine me with like very short hair all over. Like that one, if you are going to look at the profile picture, that's me with about as long as it would get, I think, when I was younger.
I've seen the one with you in the black shirt, the black like top, and you do look a bit like a mole. It's like, you know, when people get their hair cut really, you get it cut kind of quite short, and people are obsessed with kind of running their hand against the grain, and it feels quite, it's like that, but all over.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's also quite a spectacular dent. Were you dropped as an egg?
Where's the dent?
Wow. That is so rich. Like, the back and forth between you. Neither of you have a leg to stand on.
No, absolutely not. No. This is why this rapport works, because we you know.
No, the only rapport here is Alex, actually. He has been...
I've heard.
You know, he's very good, you know.
Is he?
As requested by Destin from Smarter Every Day, who then didn't do anything about it, apparently. Has he contacted you at all, Alex?
I have no idea who this person is.
You know, Smarter Every Day tweeted at you, and you sent him a link to like, oh yeah, I mostly do live stuff, and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm actually going to send him a link of like stuff that you do. Really well-known YouTuber, but it's no big deal. It's fine.
Sorry, I'm not hip with the kids. I'm too busy living my life.
Well. Actually, whilst we're on the subject of Twitter, I do have something that I'd like to bring up.
Oh, f***ing hell.
What?
Sorry, I just looked at a picture of you from 2008.
There we go. See, it's entirely warranted.
Was that the short hair one?
Jesus wept.
He did. Bucket.
Yeah. And you thought I look fit ugly in my profile picture now.
No. You look fugly now. Then Okay. Now I have two of you here, and this medium's probably the best for it, considering the audience. But in white people, is it not a thing to get shape up?
Well, it is. Yeah, like, you know, you get a trim if you've got something special on. But that was just taking my first profile picture for for Facebook wasn't like a special occasion.
What? No. A haircut is where you get. So when you get a haircut, what do you do?
I go in the shop and I nod. Like the downward nod.
Right. Don't give me a play-by-play.
If I don't know them, it's a downward nod. If I know them, it's an upward nod. And then, you know, you sit down and I ask for... It's just like... It's just to tidy up. It's a 6 on the back and sides, longer on the top. I just put clay in it, so it's nothing fancy. And then I sit there in silence for 15 minutes.
Wow. Mathematically, that's already incorrect. You're at a 6, okay? Clippers should go up to a 4 maximum.
Like, it's a clip. I get it clipped on the side, and then it's a scissor job. Which is way less exciting than it sounds on the top.
It just sounds like a really bad time with a Sweeney Todd character.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I ever clippers came anywhere near my Swede. They've always been done with scissors,
with garden shears.
Wow.
Yes, I know. Well, this is why I'm so excited to try it. I think just on the basis of this conversation, I'm going to go into the hairdressers tomorrow, and go for something quite
radical,
good,
quite brutal.
So when you go in, Alex, what do you ask for?
Boom, walk in. Okay, there are 4 barbers, and then you establish a sense of like kinship, I suppose, with a barber. You never cheat on your barber.
Yeah,
no. That's the thing. Yeah. Once you get a barber, I go back to London. I'm living in Bristol for my PhD. I go back to London for my barber because we've established that relationship. He knows what I like, and I know that his immigration status is questionable.
Which gives you leverage.
Dan, you're not allowed to say that. I get to say that. Okay.
Okay. I don't have the leverage.
What was that? What was that, Dan?
Nothing.
Yes, exactly. Be quiet. And then we have a bit of back and forth. He asks me how my week is. I tell him nothing because he could be a spy. And then I get I'll get a 2 on the sides and a 3 on top, or I'll get a skin fade into my beard because I have a beard, and so the beard will stay at like a 3, and then on top will be like a 2.5, a 3, and then skin fade at the side. Anything longer than that, and I mean, just asking for trouble. Otherwise, I will grow out my hair like an afro, and I'll just get my hairline done. And when you get your hairline done, that's a massive thing. You get, you have a blade, so a single-use blade, and that'll be, goes all the way across your head, like your hairline, giving you sort of that square effect. And that will go all the way down your beard, everywhere. So everything is nice and neat and almost, geometric. And
like
what's
you
really
did
good
before the Tomorrow's World thing that you did.
What about it?
I mean, that was what you did, right? Like you had a shape up specifically for like a big thing like that. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like the hairline trim isn't like. I mean, how frequently do you do that?
Whenever you get a haircut.
But not in between. Like you don't just go in for the hair trim because this is new. I don't know.
Okay, so I will get a haircut if I'm feeling good. I usually try and do it every 2 weeks, just to stop my hair from growing out massively. But usually, realistically, it's like every month. And sometimes I'll get a shape up without getting a haircut if I'm just running low on time, because the overall process is about half an hour, 40 minutes. This feels really weird to explain to grown men, but then I realised
it feels like that because it is.
Yeah, but then I realised that you guys can explain to me like what Kayleys are.
Well, yeah, like we've had this before on the way to the gym. Like we've realised that we both have bizarre gaps in our knowledge which are bizarre to the other person. Like
what? Kayleys are so weird.
They're so much fun. Like I know that is a very white person thing to say, but they are so much fun.
No, you know what's great? Coming out of a barber and having a sense of pride in your appearance.
Rather than just coming out and going, fine.
Literally,
yeah,
I look in an empty shop window and I just check it out and go, yeah, all right. It's like I've seen a mate for the first time in like 2 weeks, and it's like, all right, that's just me to my hair.
Well, no, because when I come out, I look at myself and go, ooh, look at you, looking sexy and shit. That's how I'm good. That's what it's like. So that's how you should feel every time you step out of a barber. That's the kind of relationship you should have. My barber has a loyalty card. That's how good he is to me. And so both of you, and actually anyone listening to this, however you identify, you need to step up your hair game, because hair game is, it's fundamental when it comes to self-care. And that's what we all need, a bit of self-care.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Dan, honestly, we could do amazing things with that head shape of yours. Really.
I mean, it's quite the beacon. I don't know whether we want to draw any more attention to it.
No.
Yeah, it's just gonna be an arrow, like Avatar.
No. I'm not. I've gone past the point of taking the mick. At this point, Dan, you've got a lot to work with. Okay.
Yeah. Again, like you said, I know it's big.
No.
The time I'd like to stress in the gym where Alex was like, "Yo, it's so big. Like, how did he get through school?"
Yo, actually, that is a legit question. Like, Dan, I'm actually so impressed with your fortitude.
Thank you.
Like as a human being, because the bullying must have been like relentless.
It was kind of ceaseless.
Oh my god.
What?
I'm so impressed.
I don't really know how I've done it, to be honest. I think one of the things that may have attributed to it was I used to wear my, oh god, I feel really bad because we've been ripping Simon to pieces about that one photo in 2008. It was only since coming to kind of uni really that I decided that kind of like, actually, you know what, I don't look good in a fringe. And oh god, it was horrific. It was
when
really
I first saw Dan, I
dreadful.
thought he was a girl. No joke.
Most people did.
Yeah.
To tell you what, actually, there's a particularly mortifying moment. I went and saw the Milk Carton Kids, my favourite band, in Islington last year, and I took a lady friend with me. We had a really nice time, and I was like, "I'll tell you what, let's make a weekend of it. Let's go. We'll get dinner beforehand. No, my treat. Don't worry. And then we'll go and see this gig after. Things going really well. I chose a really nice place, and the waiter came over and said, "God, what can I get you ladies then?" And I'm like, that's it. That's the end. I'm done now, aren't I? I can't. There's no coming back from this. So I turned around and kind of grunted, "I'll have a Guinness." And he went, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Sorry, sir. Why wouldn't you just run with it?
I know. Yeah, I should have to really. I mean, well, we've seen the photos of me in full. When we did the makeup.
Oh yes.
And everyone, including myself, was a bit terrified at the result.
Yeah, I was actually watching that one again the other day with Pixel Girl and Lily, revisiting that particular, and also the video of me deep throating the microphone, if you remember.
Oh god.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, these things happen. We try and keep it to a minimum, but there's times where he just he goes out on one. Can you remember? There was also, I was going through my my photo stream not long ago, and when we had that picnic, and you decided to just kind of pelican as a verb, I guess it works.
Oh, what, the
that sausage roll.
Oh, the sausage roll?
Yeah, you had like an entire sausage roll and you managed to get it down in kind of one you kind of tilted your head back, slowly kind of shoved it in, and then just kind of shook with your jaw open as it kind of slipped down your gullet.
Yeah, it was like a goose.
Yeah, it was mortifying.
Simon, you are wasted on women.
I know, right? I would be amazing at sucking dick, I have no doubt.
And again, we reached that highbrow time.
So, Dan, do you have a problem with someone's oral skills?
Absolutely not. No,
Exactly.
I mean, I just feel, to be honest, I just desperately want to get back to Highway 221.
Why? What's the end of Highway 221? Is it someone sucking dick?
Apparently so.
We can only hope, frankly.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Back to Highways number 221.
Yeah, what this podcast is allegedly meant to be about.
Well, that's really niche. Yeah. Who'd listen to that?
I mean, it's literally in the title. I honestly don't know why people listen to this podcast sometimes, because people are going to be like browsing through the episodes, but like, ooh, Highway 221, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the episode titles do not sell this show whatsoever. Your name, Alex, is going to be doing all the selling for this episode.
What can I say? My brand is strong.
It is.
Fuerte. Okay. So, we talked a bit about Canada. Yes. Now, the other three places, China, Japan, and the US. So, China and Japan each only have one highway number 221. So, there's the China National Highway 221 and the Japan National Route 221. The US, however,
the bed.
There are a lot. We're going to play the states game, and the first person, to get a state that has a highway or a route titled 221, you win something.
Well, why don't you give us clues about the states? Don't give us the name, but give us some clues that we could guess the state from. I don't know.
Someone like me can't go there.
Texas.
Ding, ding, ding.
Strong.
Someone like me can't go there.
Tennessee.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Same clue.
I don't know.
Mississippi?
Oh, actually, Mississippi. I can't go there, but they don't have a state they don't have a highway 221.
I'm picking states and anything in the south, anything that's near Mexico.
South Carolina.
They do not have a state. They don't have a state route 221.
That's such a shame. That's my favourite.
Arkansas?
Yep.
Why are there so many 221 highways in the south?
I'm not going to answer what's at the end of them. Why was infrastructure built in the south, Simon? Dan?
This is very true. True. Well, do you want to tell that story about that meeting you were in the other day about the science of the everyday?
Oh, Christ. Yeah. That was fun. So, I was having a meeting with some telly people, and they're like, one of the things we're really interested in is finding the factual and the science of the everyday phenomena. We're really interested in finding out what's the history and the science of cotton. How was it picked? And
oh my god,
I'm there just going, right, the science of picking cotton. That's right. Right.
Of all the things they could have picked,
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yes, very good point about the about how the roads were built. Okay. What other states we missed? How many states have these highways then? Could we just have picked any state and we would have got it right?
Here's the thing. You could have picked the entirety of the US because the US has a Route 221.
No.
Okay, there's a federal one, and then
there's a giant one.
So where does that go?
Am I allowed to click that?
Oh, go on.
It must be pretty huge. It must be like northeast to
south or something.
To this, to the.
Well, to be fair, the US is there's enough people in it that you could have a giant route anywhere in it, I guess.
I imagine from a population point of view, though, it makes sense to be in the northeast, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, you guys really know your civil planning.
I've been told this before.
Oh, and that's ding ding ding. That's this week's buzzword: civil planning. If you emailed in with civil planning, you'll win a
Wikicast T-shirt.
There you go.
Please don't make that a thing.
No, I think we should. The thing is, though, we'll need to make it needs to be civil planning every week.
Yeah, but it's not much of a competition.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have an email. You're gonna have a really, really niche spam filter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were right, were we? Northeast to south.
It is US Route 221 or US 221 is a 734 mile long, which is just over 1,181 kilometers, spur of US Route 21. So I guess it comes off Route 21. It travels from Perry, Florida, to Virginia.
Oh.
Lynchburg, Virginia. So I guess it goes the other way as well.
Yeah.
From Lynchburg, Virginia to Florida.
That's exclusively
That's
one
ridiculous.
way.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a highway.
I missed my turning. I can't get off.
Well, and also, rather than it, that you'd hope that it was one way on, one side of the road, rather than it's just a free for all. Like there's no divide in the middle.
Top east to Virginia, because I'm being pedantic. Does it not pass through one of the Carolinas, North or South Carolina? It must go through both.
I mean, it travels through the states of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia.
Virginia.
Because
wow.
I think I'm right in saying that the US highways were the single most expensive civil project in history. Like the cost of building the highway network in America was incredibly high.
Yeah.
Hang on, cost of US highways. Because it's one of those things that, like, when you think about actually the scale of the project, talk amongst yourselves. I'm just going to do some proactive Googling.
Okay.
Hey Dan, light conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Light conversation. Oh, hey Dan, I want to call up. Remember in that episode about racism at Exeter when you were sort of an apologist? Let's have a conversation about that.
Okay. Oh, shit. Here we go.
Still looking. You've got a good 10 minutes on your own here, Dan.
Oh God. Okay.
So you want to explain your point there, or your point of view?
My point. Well, I mean, I think a apologist may be a bit of a linear reading of the text there, Alex. But I don't know. I think I should try. I want to try and assume the best in people. Also, the point that Simon and I made was that we just really don't know.
Dan, can you stop being an apologist quite so loudly? I'm trying to concentrate here.
Okay.
So, would you agree with the sentiment that neutrality in the face of evil is complicity?
That's again a pretty strong out of the blocks there. I take your point. I think certainly reading we've had a load of correspondence in stuff that we haven't been able to kind of include in the podcast purely because it's the time has kind of passed now. But many people were making those points. It's something that I want to look into further, but I don't know. I just don't know, Simon. I don't know. This is why we said we didn't want to kind of be the kind of the people to host the forum rather than just actually listen to people make their own points. Is it Bristol Uni that you're at then?
I am at University of Bath.
Oh, Bath. Okay. Has there been any kind of kick up on the scale of that we've had down in Exeter with you, or?
I am one of the only black people in my department.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So when I heard your point of view, I'm going to say
interested. You were interested.
No, I was like, wow, he's going there. That's brave. Does he have any black friends?
I mean,
ding ding ding! I've just found it.
Okay.
So, right, do you want to have a stab in the dark about how expensive it was to build all the highways in the US?
$1 billion.
$1 billion, Dan?
4.3 billion.
All right, so that basically, I was right. It is the most expensive civil engineering project ever. The top 3 on the civil engineering sort of chart, I guess, leaderboard. Number 3 is the Kashagan oil field in Kazakhstan. That's actually currently under construction. And the cost at the moment is estimated at $116 billion.
Oh,
Jesus, yeah, a bit far out then.
The International Space Station is at number 2.
Can I change?
Yeah.
Can I change my answer?
Go on.
500 billion.
Okay, Dan, update.
I'll change mine to
Don't say 501 billion. I'll kill you.
You're that kid.
400 billion.
Okay, so number 2 is the International Space Station, which cost in 2013, so you can update this with inflation, was $118.8 billion. And bear in mind, so this means that the highways in America cost more to build than the International Space Station, which is a bizarre fact in itself. And the US interstate highway system cost $224.2 billion.
Wow. That is an insane amount of money, isn't it?
It's an astonishing amount of money. Twice as much. More than twice as much. Sorry, no, not quite twice as much as the International Space Station.
And yet they have so many highways numbered 221.
Yeah.
Could they not have hired somebody to just keep track of that?
For shame.
For shame. For shame. Oh no, you're not a Hamilton fan. I remember I talked to you about Hamilton once, Alex, and you were just like, it's like hip hop for white people.
No. It's not, because white people can love hip hop. Anyone can love hip hop. It's like, if you listen to the Hamilton mixtape, which is sort of
that's what it was supposed to be. Yes.
Yeah, that's dope. That's really good. Has some bangers on there. I think what I'm tired of is, at least in my line of work, the Hamilton effect, which is people saying, "Oh, I really loved Hamilton. Can you make me a my shot?" I'm like, It's like if, I don't know, someone made a really strange commercialized version of chapel music. Wow, that sounded weird even
saying it.
Yeah. And then all of your chapel choir stuff and all of the tours that Dan was going on was to make these weird commercialized forms of not quite what you liked.
Yeah. To be fair, they kind of did that, and it's called John Rutter.
I was literally thinking, oh, wow. It was one of his...
Sorry.
No.
Let's all just laugh together at that joke, which we all get.
I don't know anything about Hamilton, really. I've listened to the soundtrack fully through a couple of times. I was like, okay. And then I've heard people go and see it, and they've been like, yeah, it's really good. I'm like, oh, okay. But I haven't... See, unlike with something, I don't know, have either of you seen or heard much of Dear Evan Hansen?
Yeah, I've listened to a bit of it.
Yeah, see, I'd be much keener to see something like that.
Yeah. That's considerably gayer.
I think just from a music perspective, I don't know whether it's...
That's what I mean. It's a lot more twee, you know? It's...
See, I think my issue with Hamilton really is it's like people are like, oh my god, I love Hamilton. Hamilton's amazing. Yet at the same time, when they see someone like me walking down the street, they cross the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit
I love the culture. I don't like you.
I like the slightly watered down, sanitized version of the culture.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, you should watch it, Dan. Actually, I really enjoyed seeing it live. Interestingly, Pixel Girl listened to the soundtrack through a bunch of times. Still didn't know the plot when we went to see it live. I'm not quite sure how she managed that, but there you go.
Weren't there allegations that that this has been amazing PR for Alexander Hamilton, and that he was in fact not such a great guy? Well, no one's perfect. But he wasn't particularly great as founding fathers go.
Well,
in general.
he cheated on his wife, and I don't actually know. I don't think he was a slave owner. A lot of them were. I don't think he was. I'm probably completely wrong, but he definitely wasn't an ideal human being. I think basically, Lin-Manuel Miranda was drawn to his story because there was a really good book released a couple of years before he wrote the musical that he really liked, and just empathized with his story as an immigrant, because obviously they're both from islands in the Caribbean. Hamilton was from... it's a really unusual one that Hamilton was from. Because Miranda was from Puerto Rico, I think. And...
Oh my god, sorry.
What?
I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was reaching for a glass of water and just took a massive swig, and it was vodka.
What is your house?
We had some people over the other day, and I've made an error in judgment.
I've made a grave mistake.
Sorry, go on.
Wow, no, Dan, let's go. Dan, this is an intervention now. Why are you living that lifestyle, Dan?
Again, I think this was happening when I was firmly tucked up in bed with Radio 4 and a cup of tea, and some friends were downstairs making. Tell you what they were doing. Do either of you watch Binging with Babish?
Sometimes, yes.
I've met the guy. I mean,
Oh, look at me
Have you
name
actually?
dropping people I've met.
I met him in New York. There's like a few photos of us together.
He's a very cool dude.
Oh no, this is Simon. Simon, okay, Danny, you need to know something. When we went to the gym, Simon would get recognised.
Every now and again, it was not a common thing.
It was common enough for me
To start ripping the
make
piss
him
out of
feel.
me.
To get annoyed.
No, not even that. Just it was a lot of fun watching him have to do fan interactions when I was trying to make him lift things.
Well, I mean, Simon, as the readership has established, is an amazing people person.
Yeah.
He'll attest that himself.
Really?
No, not.
Social butterfly, I am.
Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah, no, as I say, they recreated the Ned Flanders hot chocolate from the Simpsons movie, and I think people came over, had some drinks, and then also tried to do that because we live around the corner from a co-op that's open until midnight.
Oh God, Ed tried to make that.
Yeah.
Jesus wept.
I was woke up, somebody came into my room at about 1 a.m. and said, do you want to have a hot chocolate? And I tried it, okay, and I took a first sip and was like, oh, that's quite nice. And I had to stop about halfway through because you had to chew it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was more of a kind of like a fondue.
He's no Mary Berry. Let's put it like that.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I think hot chocolate is one of my favourite things to make because you can literally get a small cup of milk and then just put, chocolate chips, heat it on the stove,
That's
bam.
it, yeah. It's about as complex as toast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
I don't think
beautiful.
I've ever had a hot chocolate.
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, because it goes against everything that you believe.
Yeah, it's a hot drink.
What,
and
fun.
For me, hot drinks are just like
fun, youth, frivolity, everything really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's deeply saddening, especially given that as a housewarming gift to Simon when he came in, we got matching mugs with our. I got a D on mine and an S on his, and he'd never use it because he couldn't. Oh, actually, that's a lie. Hot toddies.
Hot toddies and Lemsip, I would have.
Yeah, which were okay. But,
What I really like is that those mugs also serve as markers for who you are in your alternate bondage relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be the sub. Let's be absolutely clear about this.
yeah.
Simon, you
In
you
what
are,
kind of up universe do you think Dan would be the dominant one in our gay relationship?
you are obviously a power bottom. Simon, I've been in the car with you. You're a power bottom.
No, I refute that 100%. Dan?
You're a backseat driver. You're a power bottom.
I'm now just willingly reaching for this vodka on the table. I don't know what else is happening.
To return to the point that I left hanging ages ago, by the way, Alexander Hamilton was born on Nevis in the Leeward Isles. So that was the island he was on.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, it would have been a thread that someone would have been pissed off about if we hadn't returned to it.
I'm sure.
I know this readership. Well, actually, I did ask the readership for questions because I said that we had a guest coming on today, and I did ask them on the Discord. And actually, let's have a look at some. So the first question is, I actually know the answer to this one already. Alex, are you team cat or team dog?
I am team dog. I've got a dog.
What dog do you have, Alex?
My dog is half Labrador. Oh no, he's half a working golden retriever and half like Springer Spaniel Labrador mix.
Nice.
And he's really fun. Yeah, he's a black golden retriever, and he can jump like 7 feet. He's really springy.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
But I do like cats. Cats are fun. Cats to me remind me of like when it's raining outside.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I can get that.
Like and you can hear rain on like corrugated iron, like you can
like a tin roof kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what sort of cat weather is sort of there, and then you've got a warm drink. I know that goes against everything you stand for, Simon, but that's
already.
Quite nice. Yeah, that's quite nice.
So moving swiftly on, what I believe, I've been led to believe, I feel a little bit like kind of an, what's it called? A zoologist looking in on an animal community sometimes with the Discord. I've been led to believe this is a contentious issue. What's your opinion on chocolate-rich tea biscuits?
They can get to
Yeah, what's the point?
When I want a rich tea biscuit, I want to dunk it in tea. Okay, I don't want chocolate in my tea because I'm not about that life.
Also, if you're going to have a chocolate biscuit, the answer is obvious. It's either a chocolate digestive or a bourbon.
Oh, and of course, you would choose a bourbon because the bourbon is the superior is the best biscuit.
Yeah.
Exactly. And anyone that prematurely says, "Oh, what about Oreos?" No.
Yeah, I don't see the joy in Oreos at all.
What else have we got? Does your guest know Dame tu Cosita? I feel like that's a reference I don't get. Is that a PewDiePie thing? Knowing the Discord, it's probably a PewDiePie thing.
Dame tu casita.
Yeah.
But, so, give me your house.
Your little house?
Spanish.
That's a diminutive, isn't it? Casita.
Yeah, but little house. Yeah, someone down the.
Your little Wendy house.
Also, zoology implies that your readership are animals. What you're looking for is anthropologists.
Well, no, I deliberately steered clear of anthropologists because I don't sometimes think of them as people. They're just
wow.
Are you sure you want to stand by that statement? In a
these people give you money.
Well,
these people let you do a podcast that is you and a friend rambling for a while, and
they give us money,
and they give you money for that, and you want to call them animals. Guys, everyone that's listening, that's how he feels about you. Jump right onto Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet? We don't have a Discord, but hit me up on Twitter. If enough of you are like, hey, yeah, we want a Discord, I'll set you up a Discord where there are people who love you, all right? There are 4 of us. We all got jokes. We're all stand-up comedians. We'll make this a thing, all right?
So
look,
I think another reason why I may have gone for zoologist is because one of the other questions, which I omitted originally, but I'm saying now, was we were sent a link to the rice purity test, which apparently is a measure of purity, as a person. And the very last question is, have you engaged in an act of bestiality?
No, I haven't.
There are 100 questions here, which is meant to determine how pure you are as a person.
Oh, right. So this is from, I just Googled it. So it's from the college. So the College of Rice or
Rice
American,
is in Texas.
Okay, so I thought this was about actual rice, and I was like, oh yeah, your fans get it. Rice is important. Yeah, basmati, long grain, all of these different rice. Yeah, I assumed your fans would get it. I was like, I thought that all of Simon's fans were middle class white people, but I was like, oh no, these guys get it. They know what this is about.
You were wrong there, my friend.
No, but I'm looking at the rice purity test, and number 80, join the Mile High Club. 81, participate in a booty call. I'm just going to go down these. Have you travelled more than 100 miles? Have you travelled more than 100 miles for sex? Have you had sexual intercourse with a partner with a 3 or more year age difference? Have you had sex with a virgin? Have you had sex without a condom? Have you had an STI test due to seize reasonable suspicion? Look, anyone listening, you should have an STI test every year. Just let yourself feel comfortable, okay? Mm-hmm. This is some sexual health. I know you wouldn't get it from Simon or Dan. Be safe.
It is important, guys. This is a jokey podcast, but every now and again, we'll have a crisis later, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm just going to go through this now.
I'm literally just doing this test. There may be a brief edit here, guys, while we we should compare our scores in a minute.
Okay, I'm going to calculate my score. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so I have a rice purity test score of 35.
I have a rice purity test score of 43.
I have a rice purity test score of 17.
Strong.
So what does it mean?
This is the best thing. We don't know. I
haven't got a clue what this means.
There are 100, and I didn't tick 17 of them.
Oh, I see. So the lower your score, the less pure you are.
So I'm 50. So I'm I'm middle of the road, kind of.
Alex is way out there on a limb. Bloody hell, mate.
Well, I say I'm middle of the road. These questions were the vast majority of them were explicit, to say the least. So really, your score on a scale of 0 to 100 doesn't say much at all.
All of that incest, mate, has done you in, Alex.
No, it's a lot of these things you can get rid of in one night.
Well, depending on which ones you mean, that is one hell of a night.
Pregnancy scare.
Oh no, look, let's jump through it. Held hands romantically, been in a date, been in a relationship, danced without leaving room for Jesus. Don't know who Jesus is. Kissed a non-family member.
Get in here!
Kissed a non-family member on the lips. French kissed in public. This seems like something for
You can go from 0 to 50 very quickly, I feel like.
My favourite one is one of the questions was basically done anything on the same level as heroin, and then the next one is been sent to the principal. Like, oh, yeah, of course. Funnily, a funny story there. Same instant.
Also, like, there are some drugs, like, I've taken some prescription drugs that are a lot longer than marijuana. Not longer, a lot stronger.
Don't want to correct you, but yes.
Yeah. Also, yeah, Simon, don't ever correct me for my words.
Well, actually, I feel like we have been talking for nearly an hour. We should ostensibly move on to Critics' Corner.
All right.
I imagine it's wise.
Like, God, we've been at it for a while. Take a break. If you're listening to this podcast, take a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat. #Spawn.
And go upstairs.
I completely understand why theatre kids get picked on.
Right, I asked a question on Twitter earlier, and I want to get your... Because this is my form of criticism, because I had a really nice Indian dinner the other day. Pixel Girl and I went out for a... It wasn't even a special thing, we just moved here. And I asked people...
That's pretty special. I'm sorry, that's really special.
Yeah, but like, it was like a few days afterwards. It wasn't like, this is our moving in meal. It's like, do you fancy getting an Indian tonight? I'm like, yeah, all right. Now, how many poppadoms would you have? Like, if they sit down and they say poppadoms and you're like, of course, yes. How many would you ask for per person?
I'm a fiend, so... How many will I ask for?
I think this is entirely dependent on how you're going to structure the meal. So are you going to go for like one of those ones where you get loads of different things and you'll just kind of like you just share it all, or are you having your like poppadoms with your rice and curry and then maybe something else?
Oh, this is like a starter. This is like the Western thing that we do of like they give you poppadoms with chutneys and things like that as like a, you know, before you.
Oh, those the little poppadoms. Where you get
they're like the size of, I don't know, like the size of dinner plates.
Yeah, the big one. So basically, what you got to understand there is your poppadom is a vessel for the chutneys. So the real question there is, how much chutney are you putting on each poppadom bit? You know, you have to break bits off to fit it in the tiny...
But how many poppadoms would you order to begin with? Before we even get on to the chutney discussion, because that is a whole other beast.
No, because I'm action oriented. Like I don't just waffle for an hour, you know. I think
you're on the wrong podcast.
Yeah, no, I think about what we're doing. You know, when it comes to record Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet? Bish bash bosh, we are in and out in 50 minutes. We edit it, it's down to 45. That's the sort of tight planning we're on. So when it comes to poppadoms, I'm thinking maybe 2, because if you're saying it's a starter, yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'd say 3.
Yeah, because 2, you've got enough to like, you know, have a wide variety of the chutneys. At the first one, you test out all the chutneys, especially if you're like a chutney virgin. And then the second one, you hone in on the one you like. Is
chutney virgin a euphemism?
I feel like it should be.
Dan, it can be whatever you want it to be, man.
Okay, cool.
You know, language is as language does. Then that second poppadom, right, you've honed in on the chutney you like taste you want. And then the third one, that's the palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the raita, just, you know, nice smooth kind of thing. Nothing spicy on that one.
That's to prepare you for whatever's coming next. The Cobra beer, you know, whatever you want.
Ooh, Cobra beer.
Kingfisher is always my my beer curry of choice. Yeah,
but both of them are nice. That and Tiger.
Yes,
like they're all very right. So I asked this as a poll on Twitter, and 53% of people said they'd ask for 2 poppadoms. Which, so like, because I'd normally ask for 2, and I felt like I was perhaps being a little bit greedy, maybe only supposed to ask for 1. 13% of people said they'd ask for 4 or more per person.
Well, I'm used to unlimited. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I would want 4 or more, but I would feel shame if I asked for that many. I only say 2 because I look at Pixel Girl in the eye and I'm like, okay, no.
If you're going to a curry house, I would always have, well, certainly where I've gone, is that the poppadoms are just a thing that keep appearing, and it's not just a starter. It's something that you can just kind of graze on throughout your meal. Maybe when you've finished your curry and there's still some sauce left, you might go in with another poppadom, of a tray of poppadoms that may have been refilled. In which case, the number is, you know, who knows?
Because I'd love that, but whenever I've been recently, it's been like these are your poppadoms and your chutneys, and we'll take them away when, you know, just before your main course arrives. It's like, no, I want to keep them. Yeah. Like,
I think you need to have a word with the establishment.
I should, because I'm all about. I love poppadoms. They're like giant ready salted crisps, but you get to dunk them in stuff. And like, you know,
wow,
amazing.
That's the That's the culinary take-home. Giant, ready salted crisps.
They've always resembled skips. More than crisps, I'd say.
Well, surely that's more prawn crackers.
Oh my god, yeah, no, you're totally right. I've been thinking of prawn crackers the entire time.
Oh, for f***'s sake.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, I've been thinking about those big crisp crackers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went back to the West Country this weekend and I really had to consciously dial back the West Countryness when I was talking then. And I think I failed.
Yeah, you said Gerd.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? So, oh, I did it then. Oh my god.
What's happened?
I was in the middle of deepest, darkest Somerset and I got absolutely trashed. I was so drunk. Yeah. That was we had this we were mostly on a cider called Cheddar Valley or Pheasant Plucker, which was anything from 6% to 15%, depending on how long the box had been sat there.
Yeah.
So we, in terms of beer pints, we had anything from like 10 to 20 pints of beer, effectively. And yeah, I went full West Country. I've seen some around my mates from back from my childhood, full West Country. Anyway, yeah, we were talking about poppadoms, Dan.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing me up to speed there.
But yeah, so yeah, you know, mango chutney, the little lime chutneys. What's the name of that? Do you know this, Alex? The lime chutney that you get, the spicy one.
No, I don't actually.
Because that's the really nice one.
Guy, I'm gonna be quiet for a little bit. I'm gonna go on to Just Eat. I'm pretty hungry.
Because like you've got that's the spicy one, which most people I'm with doesn't seem to like because they think it's too spicy. You always get the mango chutney. You'll get like a tomatoey kind of one, and you'll get I am thinking of the right one, right? Like raita, where it's like yogurt.
Yeah. It's like an Indian take on tzatziki.
Yeah, and then like you can mix them up and like put that with the spicy one, for example. Yeah. Or just do what I did when I was a kid and only have the mango chutney and like.
I'm currently on a Wikipedia article for this lists of chutneys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so apparently the green one you're thinking of is...
Oh, God, just looking at this article is making me feel hungry.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
Oh, God, I'm trying to cut. This is ridiculous.
So let's go to Critics Corner. Yeah, well let's move on before Alex eats past his calorie count.
Yeah, well, how many calories are you aiming for today?
I need to get to 3,000.
Oh, I'm on 1,800. I'm so hungry.
That's your life.
Wow.
I'm trying to bulk. My stomach digesting itself. I'm trying to cut, and it's really hard because I've just switched over to cutting from bulking. So that was my contribution of like I've been eating Indian food recently, and I'm just curious about this. So it's interesting that I apparently even lag behind, at least Alex, in terms of the number of poppadoms I order. What have you been watching anything recently, Alex, that you'd like to critique?
Oh, like in general? Oh man,
yeah.
Have you watched Sense8?
No, I've heard good things.
Yeah, so it's by the Wachowski siblings, Wachowski sisters now.
Yeah, sisters. Yeah.
And they have made like really, really, really good television. I feel as though it's sort of what they had in mind for The Matrix, if The Matrix weren't constrained by sort of a 3 or 5 act structure that is sort of one film and then like a film trilogy. Having Netflix made it possible to tell like a really, really strong and confusing story. My criticism of it, however, is that it's now over and they didn't fight more to have another series.
The Firefly
really,
problem.
Really good. Yeah, it was really good. I know stories should have a natural ending, but I really loved it. Like it told some amazing stories, great insights into human nature and all that stuff. I'm not giving the story away because I really want people to listen. I want people to watch it. Yeah, it's just so good.
It's been on my radar, that one. That along with Westworld. I've been floating around in my head recently because I still haven't seen any Westworld. And I think
you need to watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I know. I just don't watch anything really these days. I haven't watched TV for ages.
You spend all your time telling me about all these niche YouTubers. You need to start watching like Netflix. Just do it. All right.
Yeah. Pixel Girl and I have started watching Love Island. She started watching it. I've started being with her while she watches it, and like kind of getting sucked in because it's like incredibly effective at manipulating your brain. So yeah, I'd much rather be watching The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something. But yeah, because I mean, is like Netflix then your primary means of unwinding at the end of the day?
Oh my god, this is possibly the worst topic, but no.
Because you don't ever do any unwinding?
Yeah, no, I come back from the lab about 6:30, and then usually at the gym for about 9:30. So in that time, I will eat, I will look at podcast stuff. So like I will put merch together, fulfill merch orders. People listening, we have merch. People on the Wikicast Discord, I gave you a very nice discount code that some of you used. Some of you abused, by the way, getting it sent to places like Australia. All right,
join the club.
Fair enough. I didn't expect it. Good hustle. Game recognized game, but also f*** you. That's like 16 swears that Simon's gonna have to edit out.
Yeah, cheers, mate. It's not like I've got a seriously busy week or anything.
No, I actually really like contributing to it because it means that you don't get to unwind like I don't. Just to add to that, cock.
Lovely.
Thank you. In any case, yeah. So Netflix, like, what's good is I can just jump in and I know that what I'm watching. With YouTube, I find it quite difficult. I don't know if you guys find this, but like finding what I actually want to watch. And I think the issue is that because I know you, Simon, I know other creators and stuff, and I sometimes create stuff on YouTube myself. I spend too much time looking at YouTube and going, oh, how'd they do that? Oh, how did they get there? I always think of things like a creator. And I find that really frustrating, or knowing that, oh, that person didn't shoot that day, or that person, they don't naturally do that on their vlog in their day-to-day life. They did that kind of especially for that vlog. So I've seen behind the curtain, and it's all bullshit.
Yeah, I've been designing my vlogging backdrop because I'm going to start sort of dedicating a corner of my office as the background of vlogs, and I definitely want to emphasize that aspect of like, this is all fake. Like this is not a real backdrop. This is not a representation of reality.
Now, what you should do is you should have vlogs where you just go through your council tax.
Oh god, yeah, that would really. I mean, that's trend. You know, that SEO all over that. Shit. Like that. Oh, yeah. That is going to be on the front page.
How about you, Dan? How do you unwind?
Oh, I mean, I'm just quite boring, really. My idea of a fun. I was sitting the other day, and fancied a night out in the town. Sent out the kind of the social feelers to see if anyone was doing anything. There were a couple of things. I was like, okay, this could be an interesting night. Then got distracted because on BBC One there was a back-to-back Country File Antics Roadshow. Oh. I was like, well, I'm probably just going to stay in, and I did, and had a nice discussion with Country File on Twitter, incidentally, which was quite fun, and had quite a bit of gin. So usually it's watching kind of mundane stuff, the kind of stuff that would appease a 65-year-old middle-aged man, is usually my go-to.
To be fair, gin is the worst.
What?
No. It's really yummy.
Oh, right.
But
Christ, no, things are going to get ugly.
Do you want to go?
It's sorry. Did you just square up to me?
I absolutely did. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Wait, where's my popcorn? Hang on. Let me get this.
So how is gin the worst? I'm confused.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry. You no, don't ever. Not even in jest. Not even in jest, Dan. It's. I'm not mad that you're doing it. I'm mad that you think you could.
I mean, I am the most passive person that you'll ever meet. So
yeah. So what I want you to do is much like Simon, hands at 10 and 2, stay in your lane. So gin.
Yeah, here we go. Claw it back from saying it's the worst.
No, I was at a gig on the weekend, and so after I performed, I was in the hotel the next day and trying to come back from the middle of England all the way to Bristol, and so Sunday trains sort of really bad. And I just missed the last one. And so I sat in the pub with a couple of mates who were also performing. And, we had enough time for about one drink. necked the gin, and ran back to the station. Everything was fine. Took me about 2 hours, 3 hours to get home. By the time I got home, I didn't realise, because this weekend was kind of hot. Yeah, I didn't realise that. I was like, I'm a bit tired. Oh, maybe it's because I've been working so hard and had a gig yesterday. No, the gin apocalypse hit me. I was just passed out on the sofa after one gin. I felt like a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
We haven't even...
horrendous.
I feel like we should at least reference the fact that our friend Peter once tried to convince everyone that gin and Coke was a legitimate choice.
Yeah, incidentally called a joke for very good reason.
Is it nice?
No.
Well, he was convinced it was. I remember he used to order it at Spoons, and they'd be like, "Wait, are you sure? Like that sounds like it's a mistake."
Last time he ordered
it's
it,
really nice.
one of the bar staff had to come upstairs and go, "Yeah, we just had an order through on the Wetherspoons app. Someone's made a mistake and clicked gin and Coke." He went, "No, that's me." And she just looked at him with disgust and went, "Oh, okay," and left. It's amazing. See, no, I can't see. I would be against anyway because I drink gin straight.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. But I go for anything with like a really high botanical or kind of spice count. So there's Opia, which is it's a really nice curried gin. It's made with its main botanicals coriander, and it's just it's super great. Silent Pool. I think Simon, you had some of that when you had lived here. Remember that blue, the one?
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
bottle?
It was just been live in the freezer.
Yeah. Oh man, awesome. Where do you stand on slow gin, Alex?
So I'm not a gin aficionado. So literally, I will just rock up to the pub, and if they ask me for a gin, I'll just point at one, and I'll say I'll have that single of that, and I have it with tonic water. I can't really handle it straight. I don't know how you can. That's ridiculous.
I think if I was drinking in a pub, it's usually Gordon's, Edinburgh, Tanqueray, something along those lines. In which case, probably drinking that straight less so because it's not as flavorful as something with a high botanical count, but over ice it's like drinking something different. It's like, tell you what it's like drinking really good tequila and really bad tequila. Good tequila is enjoyable to drink. A cheap tequila is the stuff that kills you.
I mean, you could say the same for whiskey. Like I would never want to I'd never want to drink Jack Daniels or something neat. But I drink good whiskey neat because it's actually enjoyable.
I don't find myself drinking alcohol a lot.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day at the gym, actually, didn't we? You really don't drink much.
I don't know. I have maybe 15 units of alcohol over the year, 10 to 15, if that.
Over the year?
Yeah, over the year. Yeah, I'm not a huge drinker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, because I've got epilepsy, so I shouldn't be drinking anyway.
Right.
But even then, I find alcohol just a bit boring, and I don't like losing touch with my senses. I like having everything 100% sort of going, not in a look at me, my body's a temple. More like I don't like not knowing if what I'm seeing is real.
Yeah, you want that control.
Yes. That being said, Simon, I'm going to trust you here. Beep. Anything after this point can't be used in the episode. And one of the reasons I don't really have alcohol a lot is because it makes me make bad choices, or going to takeaways and having things like 4-piece chicken and chips with cheese.
Oh man, 4-piece chicken and chips with cheese. You know what? If I had to kind of pin down my favourite takeaway and most common one, I think it'd probably be that.
Mine is actually pita bread with halloumi, grilled halloumi.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Simon, because you're vegetarian, what kind of takeaways can you have?
Well, very little. Honestly.
Really?
I'm basically limited to chips and cheesy chips. Because my preferred...
potatoes and
More
the
potatoes.
cheesy potatoes.
I'm basically Brian McManus.
Oh wow. No hesitation.
Wow, damn. Is this how you burn bridges? Is this... Wow, I didn't realise that we were going with the scorched earth policy. Oh, it's fine, no one listens to this.
Exactly, no one listens to this podcast. It's not a problem. Because my takeaway of choice was a doner kebab. I fucking love doner kebabs, and I used to have them when I was just dead sober. I used to have them for dinner, from a place in Oxford called Kebab Kid. And I'd have them basically plain, just with chili sauce, and it was super simple. and I miss it so much because it's not really meat. It's just brown, greasy deliciousness. Like Alex after the gym, and I just want it, and I don't know why I can't have it.
Yeah. Wait, would you count a doner kebab as meat?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because it is meat technically, but it's not really.
Also depends. Oh, it depends on where you're going, right? When I lived in Australia, there was a really amazing Greek takeaway place down the road, and you'd see this guy. It was this one massive, burly, sweaty man making these kebab, and he would have been doing it for 15 years, and he didn't really speak any English at all. But you'd see him make these things, and it was like proper, like authentic doner kebab. And then we get the stuff that you get like after a night out down in Exeter full of uni students, and it is just like most of this food isn't food. It's just it's gristle, kind of soggy, cardboardy, cartilagey, just awfulness.
I love it. Confound it all, I love it though.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
So basically, that would be, even if I wasn't drunk, I would go and get that. Whereas now, I literally can only just get chips. In fact, my fast food consumption, full stop, has almost ground to a complete halt. Like before, I was a massive fan of the bacon double cheeseburger at Burger King. I hadn't had McDonald's for decades because I remember as a kid, I just made a one-time decision. I was like, I don't like the way that they deforest the Amazon. I'm never going to have any of your products because obviously all their competitors were completely different.
That's a lie. Okay, you've put airs and graces on about this, but I bet it was something like, I didn't like my Happy Toy meal.
No, it was genuinely an environmental thing.
Oh, look at me. I'm Simon. At age 6, I can make complex moral choices.
Well, it was a stupid choice because obviously all their competitors were exactly the same. But I think it was because it was like the classic when you're slightly younger and you want to be a little bit edgy, and it's like, big business, and like McDonald's and Coke are like the big businesses. But I was already addicted to Coke by that point, so I couldn't stop that. So yeah, I used to be a fan of fast food, whereas now I will have Subway, and I can get kebab van chips, and that's even like they do veggie burgers sometimes, but they're always a disappointment. They're always just like someone's like just compressed a can of vegetables into a patty.
Your problem with that is,
well, it's just I don't want that. I want a burger if I'm in that state. I don't want a compressed rabbit meal. Have you
been seeing these these veggie burgers that are like super high end, and they're trying to recreate the kind of the texture of meat? And
I've had them
to make it bleed, and all this really weird.
Apparently, I've had them before. Quite nice. And like sometimes, I remember I had one once in London, and I asked them to take it back because I was like, "Oh, you're giving me a meat meal." Yeah. Like I was so convinced that they actually had to come out. The chef had to come out and reassure me, "No, that is a veggie burger." Like it depends. Like there are two arguments, right? You either recreate the meat as closely as possible for the enjoyment of it, or you accept the fact that it's a different thing and it's never going to be like a burger really, and you just do your own thing with it. And sometimes that's fine. And like the Linda McCartney stuff is really nice. But I don't know. I can enjoy both basically. But like, if it's too close, like the really high end stuff, it can be a bit unnerving.
Isn't Linda McCartney the woman who has the massive anti-vax thing?
Oh, please don't tell me that.
Oh, please say it is.
She was the wife of Paul McCartney. Okay, I don't think she has a massive problem with anti-vax. You know why?
Oh, and I'm thinking Jenny McCarthy.
Yeah, because she died in 1998.
That's it. I'm thinking Jenny McCarthy. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're all good.
Okay.
That's a shame. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, God bless you, Linda McCartney, for dying and for making great vegetarian products.
Okay, let's bounce back to something away from food, please, because I'm so hungry.
Critics' Corner.
You know what I'd like to criticise now?
What?
Pollen, because it's a fucking cunt.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Holland?
No, pollen, not Holland.
I was like, wow, Simon.
When it's really strong on the Dutch.
Wow, you really want to do that? You really want to start
It really did sound like Holland. I mean, I assumed that I misheard, but strong.
Yeah. Pollen can do one.
You have suffered from hay fever since time in memoriam, Simon, is that right?
Yeah, and some year, it does vary from year to year, and I particularly suffer from, I'm allergic to grass pollen, and right now is the season of grass pollen, and it has been awful the past like month or so. It has been genuinely awful. I've been sat here doing this podcast in fucking swimming goggles to try and protect my eyes.
See, I've never had hay fever. Both my younger brothers get it, and they usually get it really badly. And I've always been fine up until this year, where in the past maybe 2 weeks, like last night I was just saying before we started recording, it hit me like a fucking truck. I've never experienced hay fever before, so I've now fully sympathised as to how kind of just awful it is. But like properly itchy eyes, sneezing every maybe 15, 30 seconds. It's just horrific. So I'm now having to go through and try and find which hay fever tablets are going to be right, because there's 2 different active ingredients, aren't there?
Well, there's a few. There's acrovastatin, there's loratadine, and then there's another one. There's one beginning with P. I can't remember.
Yeah. Pyretes is the one with. I think that's what I'm currently using, and that seems to be working quite well. But the most annoying thing is, we're at this kind of time of year where university's wrapping up, there's loads of different societies going out and having end of year meals, and you kind of catching up with friends and having a drink down in the gorgeous weather. As soon as you have a drink, it renders the tablets completely useless.
I mean, like, I definitely it this weekend because I went, as I said, back to the West Country. I was camping in a field made of grass in the middle of grass pollen season when I was allergic to grass pollen. And I came back and my eyes, I look like I've been punched repeatedly in the face. Because I come out in like a rash around my eyes when it's really bad. I just look awful. Absolutely, even worse than normal.
Yes, Simon, that's what you tell them. A rash.
Yeah.
It legit, like, it doesn't, it's not like an extended rash. It's weird. It's almost like a set of markings.
That's right, Simon. Don't tell them about the Fight Club.
Yeah, a set of markings.
The first rule of Pollen Club is so yeah, like I it's been really bad because of that, obviously, but oh god, it's been so bad. Like, because you've been noticing it, Dan. Pixel Girl's been noticing it. She doesn't have hay fever. Like, I mean, have you noticed it, Alex?
No, I'm a functional human being. Sorry.
You lucky swine. I have been up until this year, and it's just, yeah. I was reading an article in The Guardian about apparently how this year's been far more susceptible, and they've had, I think they said something like 30 or 40% of over 70-year-olds have been coming in complaining of having hay fever symptoms, like really badly, and they've never had hay fever in their life.
Wow.
So there's something in it, yeah, which, as you can imagine, the NHS is stretched as is, but people at that age coming in with,
I mean, it's like, I guess it's just because there's such a concentration in the atmosphere. There's so many particulates that it's just triggering other respiratory problems.
Physics.
Because, well, interestingly, that's the Met Office is now concentrating more on pollen than it has before because that's more profitable for them. Because after they lost the contract to do the BBC's weather, I believe I'm right in saying, they've chosen to focus more on their particulates game. So that means pollution and stuff like pollen, because there's more of a market for it, I guess, and it needs, that's like an accurate forecast of that is just as important as whether it's going to rain or not to some people. Like, I don't have it as bad as I have a friend who has to be prescribed stuff because he gets it so bad. But like, yeah, it's it's important. It is important stuff. I'm relatively lucky. I know it could be a lot worse for me.
I'm going to upset the theme of Critics Corner that has been for today and actually review something that I've watched.
Don't you dare!
Is that allowed?
I guess.
If you have to.
I recently rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson. Haven't seen it in like maybe a year and a bit now.
Okay. I thought you said you'd not seen it before. And...
Oh no! I mean, it's Wes Anderson. I'm considering.
That's why I was shocked.
I've seen. Yeah. No. But yeah, I rewatched it again. It's just a fucking masterpiece. Also, I've never noticed that whenever there's a newspaper featured, it's a different newspaper, and they've all got hilarious names.
Oh, as in like it's a different brand of newspaper.
Yeah, it's a different publication each time, and they're all really hilarious.
Oh,
like the transatlantic yodel is one, and they're really clever. It's very cool. I actually just ordered a book on Amazon about his. It's a collection of his 5 works that go into kind of the process behind him writing them all. And I read a really cool article about the really obscure, overly kind of image ridden and kind of deep poetry that goes through. I think there's one that's like, when questing once through noble wood of grey medieval pine, I came across a tomb, rain slicked, ethereal. It's, you know, like it's just him messing about, but he was talking about kind of why he was doing those and how he's actually gone on and written more and might be releasing a publication of poetry. And
Oh, okay.
for an English student, that's right up my street. So, but yeah, amazing film. If you haven't seen it, go and see it.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to go see it.
It is a very, very good film. Because I haven't seen a lot of Wes Anderson stuff. We've talked about him to death on this podcast. Like,
Yeah, I
he's
love
like
him.
our unofficial director of choice.
Yeah.
I actually,
Well, we
though, on
did-
the subject of getting delivered stuff, I got Homo Deus delivered today, which I was excited to add to my extended reading pile.
Yeah.
Although, actually,
Ooh.
I was sent a bunch of books by it was a press. Basically, that's another book by. I realised I was just looking at the picture I put on Instagram of
Plug.
on my Instagram of all the books in my to read pile, and Icon Books, that was it. Sent them to me, and I'd already bought another one of theirs, but they sent me a bunch of books just randomly in the mail. They were like, "If you want some review copies, here, have some books." I was like, "All right."
I've actually just finished, now that all of the kind of exams and assessments are done, I've been reading for pleasure, which has been super nice. Ed, my housemate, for my Christmas and birthday combined, got me an 1812 pocket edition of Milton's Paradise Lost, which is super cool. And every now and then there'll be like a scribbling on a page of, you know, the given the kind of the flowing script. I imagine it's pretty bloody ancient, which is amazing. I finished that, and I finished Noam Chomsky's Understanding Power.
Now, what's that like? Because I really need to read some Chomsky.
It's really good. I've currently got his Understanding Power and The Essential Chomsky, and every now and then I'll pick up and maybe read an essay or two. But I actually sat down and properly smashed through it, and it's super, super cool. Every now and then it gets a little bit heavy into kind of, especially the kind of like post-Cold War economics. You'll be reading the essays and be like, "Oh, I'm starting to kind of lose interest now." But the way that it's written, and it's such a kind of like a back and forth dialogue style, that it doesn't become so dry as you want to put the book down. But he's a fascinating man.
Have you read any Chomsky, Alex?
I try not to. I really wish I have. I really wish I had, because I'm at the point now where I'm like, I should know more about political discourse. I should know more about ideologies. I should know more about what makes people tick in a grand societal term.
Yeah.
But I think the closest I've got to geopolitics on a wide scale, so like a non-African scale, is books like Prisoners of Geography.
That's a fantastic book, yeah.
I haven't read that.
That's a really good book. It's one of my favourites. But then most of my books I'm interested in are sort of post-colonial Africa, or how politics has shaped Africa and shaped the Middle East and stuff. So I'm just reading right now the Fortunes of Africa, which is pretty good. I'm reading Silk Road. That's a really
that's
good book.
that's meant to be excellent. Yeah.
It's a really excellent book, and I'm also reading. There's one more about the Middle East that I'm reading. That's just fantastic, and yeah, I think I've just finished Barcelona. That's a pretty good book. But yeah, if you haven't read Prisoners of Geography, Dan, I suggest reading it.
Yeah, I'll add it to my list.
It's really good. Also, okay, one book that I think both of you will like. It's Inferior.
Right.
To what?
It's about. It's called Inferior, and it's how science got women wrong. So yeah, I saw you've got Testosterone Rex.
Yes.
In that pile of books that you're reading. Oh, also shout out to the fact that you like to flex on Instagram by showing all the books you're reading. Look how clever I am.
No.
Look at all the books.
No. That's all the books I need to read.
Oh yeah,
That's all the books I've had for ages.
We all know what this. I'm flicking through the comments right now. Just a little roast on Simon. The first one is people like, "Oh, the Good Immigrant." I'm like, "Yep, welcome for that." People underneath, "Oh yes, I'd hoping you'd post something like this so I could get some inspiration." More people, "Oh, thanks to your list of recommended books, I now have bought 2. Follow-up book review on Homo Deus. Flatland, I see you're a man of culture, Dr. Clark." Nah, Nah, yeah, Simon. Sorry. Any sort of endorphins that you're going to get from reading those comments now be tainted by the fact that you've got me roasting you in the back.
No. I don't worry. I read them in the same voice in my head.
This is amazing, especially the book Eureka. How long do you intend to finish reading?
I don't know. I don't know how long I intend to finish reading. That isn't a flex. That's me being. I really need to get back on reading. Like I have very nearly finished The Good Immigrant. I've got 2 essays left. So that I'll finish that by the end of this week, hopefully.
Good, then send it back to me, please.
I will, yeah. I actually had a guy compliment me on the train about that. There was a guy from, if I had to guess, like the Caucasus? Like kind of Armenia, that kind of way. And like noticed I was reading it, was like, that's a very important book. I'm glad you're reading it. And I was like, oh, well, don't thank me, thank my friend Alex. I would have been clueless otherwise.
I hope you said all of that. Good. And
then I scratched this dog behind the ears because he had a great dog.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But you guys, how long does it take you guys to finish reading like a 300-page book?
I think it's very much dependent for me anyway. If I'm reading for pleasure or not. Oftentimes, certainly with some of the classics texts that I've got to read, especially the like narratives rather than like collections of poetry or whatever, they get so heavy and so I get so bogged down that it takes ages. If I'm reading a book and I'm really liking it, probably like a day, maybe 2 days, because I will just sit and read and not do anything and finish it and then go, okay, cool, and then kind of move on. Given that I get to do that because that's kind of my degree.
Like if I'm enjoying a book, which basically means is it published by the Black Library, I will demolish it in a day or 2 days. Yeah. But if it's a relatively dense book, it can take months. Especially if I'm just not feeling it, it's like I feel like I should be reading this rather than I really want to read this. Then it's like it can be a very long time.
Because like I've had something recently that I thought after my PhD started, I'd never be able to read for pleasure. Until it's all done and dusted. But I was reading Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that in the shop, yeah.
Yeah, it's by Rennie Edo-Lodge. If you haven't sort of read it, it's really good because it's got a really great insight on sort of multiculturalism in the UK and how power dynamics work and all this and all that. And I demolished that, and that's sort of 200 pages plus. I demolished that from Paddington to Bristol.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling and just a kind of like a blissful experience when you do find a book like that, where you can just sit and time become like almost stops and you quantify it as kind of like, oh, I picked it up and now I'm finished, and it just so happens that it's been this amount of time. You just kind of forget. I remember so vividly when... to kind of lower the intellectual tone, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came through in the post.
Boy.
Oh man! And I remember you'd left about, and Simon had gone to campus, and I was just sitting at home. It came in the post, courier delivered, and this was the post I actually tweeted at the Royal Mail, because the guy who was delivering it must have been delivering several of the same copy and knew what I was getting. Yeah. And I can't remember what he said now. He said, I opened the door and said, oh, morning. And he looked at me and was like, morning, Harry, enjoy. And they gave me this book and I signed for it and left. And was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I sat and I maybe 2.5, 3 hours on the sofa, didn't move, didn't eat, didn't drink, hardly breathed. It's just such an amazing thing.
You opened the front page and you were just like,
yeah. It was just... amazing. I get such vivid flashbacks to me, like in my kind of childhood years when I was reading those books, and it was such a massive part of my kind of upbringing. It was just the same, and I hadn't had that experience since the last book would have come out, or when I was sitting in the back of a car and Mum and Dad had driven me down to the midnight release of the book, and I was sitting with a little torch reading it, and it was lovely.
I mean, I definitely did this with The Great Gatsby. I remember I demolished that in a flight to... where was I going? France? I'm not even sure. It was like quite a short flight. And I remember I just demolished that book. because I only read it relatively recently. It was only a couple of years ago. That is one of the best feelings, isn't it? Where you're just like, you're just so in the groove. The rest of the world just falls away, and you're not even. It's not even like you're seeing the page. The concepts and the sentences are just going straight into your brain. It's like you've just plugged a cable into the book, and you're downloading it.
I remember like having that feeling, just before I'm no longer talking to white people about race, with The Martian.
Oh yeah, I did that with The Martian as well.
Yeah, I read that. I got given it by my cousin when we were all flying from London to Ghana. We had a stop off in Morocco, and we were stuck in Casablanca for like 3 or 4 hours. And I just demolished that book, like properly got into the groove. It was only when we sort of started getting on the plane that was in maybe the last chapter, and it was a bit rocky reading it, and also the last chapter is a bit convoluted.
Were you doing the thing where you're walking to the place you need to go, but you're still reading?
Yeah, and like I don't know if you guys have ever been on flights where people around you are very, very, very angry and are willing to show it to you, but this flight has been delayed a bit, so we had all these African aunties like at 4 a.m, just mad as and anyone could get it, and I was there sort of banging into people's hand luggage, and I was getting cussed out in multiple languages. I was like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna like back away and finish the Andy Weirathon later.
Yeah.
Did you read Artemis?
No. I have read it. Like I've got halfway through it, and it's on my side shelf, because right now with Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet, the podcast that I haven't mentioned, we are getting a lot of books in for review, so those have sort of taken a bit of precedent, and that's been fun, but like it's blurring the lines between reading for pleasure and reading for work.
Yeah. No, the Artemis, like I did a review on my Goodreads, like it shows where he's good at writing, as in why The Martian was so successful, because it doesn't have a lot of the elements that are in Artemis. Like there's multiple characters who interact like normal people, allegedly, and like he clearly, because we both went to this live event, didn't we, where we met him, and he was talking about the economy, and you can tell that book was an excuse to have an extended like research session on how the economy of a moon base would work. Like he wasn't so interested in the story, and that shows through in the same way that like The Martian was like an excuse to do that scene from Apollo 13 just for an entire book and trying to get a guy off Mars, which was amazing. I'm not personally quite so interested in the economy of a moon base, but it's a 3-star book. It's fine. Like it's okay. It's like my haircut, flawed. Like it's not amazing, but it's all right.
Did you ever end up reading the Red Mars trilogy?
No, it's on again. That's on my Goodreads as a to read.
I finished Red Mars. I finished the first one a couple of months ago, and I haven't actually got back into the next two. But that was bloody good.
Because is it Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars? Is that the order?
I think it's Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like my want to read list is I don't even
too
know
long.
how many.
Saddeningly long.
Yeah, like because I keep seeing books or people recommend them to me, and then I'll sort of be browsing Goodreads and just see something interesting. So I have 60 books on my to read list. Oh my god,
mate! Don't pay for them.
Just go to the library. I really should.
No, get publishing houses to send it to you.
I should. Yeah. Actually, to be fair, I own some of these already. I just haven't got around to reading them. And like, I've some of them, like for example, Fermat's Last Theorem. I've seen it, but I've not read it. Guns, Germs, and Seal. I've seen it, but not read it. Like some of these are textbooks. Some of these are. Homo Deus is on there. Well, hey, I can actually remove one. Like Silk Road is on there. White Teeth, Noughts and Crosses, Kokoro, Kite Runner.
You haven't read Noughts and Crosses?
No, these are all my to read. I want to read these.
Yeah, but you haven't read it.
No, it wasn't. I know it was one of those classic books that you get set in school, but it wasn't in our school.
No,
I haven't read it either.
I never got it set, but it was just like one of those things because having, at least for me, author who's a black woman who's written something so popular, it swept like wildfire.
Yeah, well, I remember as a kid, like that was the one that permeated into my brain. That was like, oh, there's a book that's been written about race for young adults. I should probably read that at some point. And then I was too busy reading Warhammer books, and I just never got around to it.
Also, she wrote, what was it, Pig Boy Heart.
Was
and
that
other
her?
stuff. I feel as though that was her. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and yeah, stuff that was turned into like CBBC movies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember Pick Up Boy. Yeah.
Yeah. It was good stuff. Like she wrote some really great things. How do you guys buy books? Do you buy them like as you go along in the year? Like, 'cause I do a thing where I buy all of my books in like February, and then I'll buy the next batch.
I'm a terrible impulse book buyer. Like, if I go in a bookshop, I'm almost certainly going to come out with a book.
Yeah.
Like, I am dreadful at that.
I have to do mine through the year because certainly at the starts of academic years with doing a degree like English and classics, the amount of money you have to spend on set text for the year and just your other things, which doesn't really give you much time to read for pleasure anyway. It'll usually be a case of maybe around the end of kind of second term when we've got a bit of time off, I might do like a big bulk Waterstones order or an Amazon order or something, and kind of get a load in, getting kind of ready for the summer. Otherwise, on the same assignment, I'll go into second-hand bookshops are my worst thing because they're so cheap, and you're like, oh, we just walk out with 12 new books.
I like that we're talking about getting ready for summer, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bulk buy books.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Like, and when you cut, it's like donating all your books to the second-hand shop or the charity shop.
Yeah, I need to do a bookshelf cut. Yeah, I'm cutting right now. Yeah. No, but I do know now that I'm sort of at the Uni of Bath, being in a place where it's so affluent and so old and people die, like second-hand shops, phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, true, actually, I can imagine.
We've got some amazing ones down in Exeter. In fact, there's one brilliant one which is next to a British Heart Foundation shop where there's a whole section of just old music, which for someone who, loves it, but then also, conducts a choir and dabbles in loads of other things, finding just cheap scores for stuff. I sang the Brahms Requiem recently, and I managed to pick up my own really nicely bound copy for like £1. I was like, oh
wow, that's a steal.
Yeah, same. I've now got my own Novello edition of the Messiah, but like a vocal edition score. So it's the same size. It's the same, exactly the same score as ones that we would have been using in the concert, but it's just slightly smaller, so it's more comfortable to hold as you go through the entire, because the whole thing goes on for ages. All the GNS stuff. There's loads of things there. You can pick up some amazing things.
I have no point of reference for any of that, but
okay.
From what you sound, I'm happy for you guys. But you both sound super happy.
Yeah, it's an absolute, as Simon says, it's a bloody steal, because you'd be paying, if you were ordering one yourself, you'd probably be paying like 15, 18 quid for a copy.
Yeah, at least for a big work like that. Yeah. You should listen to the Brahms Requiem though. It's Eine Deutsches Requiem, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's in German. It's really good. Really like Brahms. We should really move on. We've been recording for nearly 2 hours.
Fine. I'm gonna take this moment though to recommend to your listenership and you two some music that isn't 400 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Go for it. We like Whittaker.
You wanted to get into hip hop, Simon.
Yes.
And
Chance the Rapper specifically, you recommended for me. I remember.
So yeah, you'll like Chance the Rapper. Dan, what sort of music do you like that isn't chain
like
music?
Choral, yeah.
Yes.
I'm big into like acoustic stuff, but I imagine for something that's closer. Do you know Wolfpack?
Who? What?
Wolfpack. Vulfpeck.
I do not.
It's like, how would you describe them? Hang on, let's see what iTunes is going to tell me.
Funk. You like funk?
Yeah.
Okay. You should listen to Tupac, Nas, A Tribe Called Quest. I would suggest for both of you listen to MF Doom.
There was a Vox did a video on MF Doom actually about like why he was so good.
Sure, you can. He is good. Any
particular song
also,
of MF Doom?
Actually, just go through all of his discography. Just click random his discography, and you'll find something that you like. That's how I got into MF Doom.
Because am I right in saying he's particularly like rhythmically complex?
That sounds like something Vox would say. Yeah.
All right, fair.
We can play the game where you pass off things that you've heard on YouTube as your own opinions.
No. That wasn't. I wasn't pretending to be an opinion. That was me trying to remember what the video says.
No. But also, just from UK, I'd suggest listening to Loyal Kana. So Loyle Kana. He's absolutely amazing. If you're a fan of the more urban take, listen to some grime. I would suggest listening to
What's your take on Stormzy, by the way?
Oh, me personally, I love Stormzy. I know that who is it? Sally LePage, guest that you had on. Not a fan of Stormzy. She once tweeted that Stormzy not for her, or maybe it was Skepta. I don't know. Either way, I took umbrage with it and realised that perhaps
and McGonagall and Snape. Sorry.
Potter references. You forgot Vector, Sprout, Trelawney, Lockhart, Lupin, Quirrell, Moody,
Grubbly Plank.
Grubbly Plank. Yeah, he taught. Was it Care of Magical Creatures before Hagrid?
And then he retired. And Hagrid took over.
That was actually Grubbly Plank was filling in. The one before that was Kettleburn.
Kettering. That's it. Kettleburn. Kettering is in. I don't know. Anyway, I shouldn't know this much about Harry Potter. Why do I know this much? Why do I know this much?
I don't know. Now, you said grime earlier.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. You speak. I'm going to think about why I know so much about niche Harry Potter topics.
I mean, man after my own heart.
Am I autistic?
I don't like grime.
Oh my god, maybe I'm autistic.
I don't think I like grime. I'm trying to think. That's a very blanket statement, I'm aware. But
I love the way you said it right after I said fired shots at Sally LePage.
I don't like grime.
No, just yeah, I know. Back to it. Yeah, what grime have you listened to?
I don't know because it's always been played at me.
Right. Okay,
yeah,
then.
So
I would suggest listening as a start to popular stuff. So listen to JME.
Okay, JME.
I imagine you'll like him. I would listen to. Are you a fan of Pokemon?
Yeah.
Listen to his song "The Very Best." It's basically him showing you he can be hard as hell on any beat, talking about anything, and he's talking about his love of Pokemon.
Is this still JME?
Yep.
So I should search JME Pokemon.
Yep. And he's absolutely incredible. Skepta is always a good shout, but if you're not a huge fan of grime, I'd suggest starting with his brother, JME. Stormzy makes great stuff. His last album, incredibly popular. And, it has quite a lot of variety. So he's got sort of quite a lot of gospel influences in there. So if you like choral music, you might like some of the arrangements in there.
Mm.
And it's got some bits have a bit more of an R&B style vibe. It's not drill music. I realised that reference would be lost on both of you, so let's move past it.
I'm just sitting there nodding and smiling. Yes. I feel like whenever you see footage of like Prince Philip or Prince Charles, just way out of depth, just sitting there.
You mean like at the royal wedding?
Top pocket, just kind of smiling, going, okay, lovely.
Like at the royal wedding when they had a black reverend. Oh god, that was
so funny. Yeah, have you seen the bad lip sync to that?
No, because nothing is funnier than the concept of having him there already. It was beautiful to watch. Genuinely, both of you look into hip hop. You like hip hop both from the US and the UK, and some grime, which isn't really hip hop. It's familiarly an offshoot of, I'd say, garage. And yeah,
I did know that bit. I remember I looked at the family tree of this once.
Yeah, there you go. Learn new things.
Right.
But anyway.
We have been going for like 2 hours. We should probably draw a curtain over Critics' Corner because Jesus Christ, this is going to be a record-breaking episode as it is. Was there something you wanted to finish there, Alex? Sorry, I did kind of...
No. Just listen to more stuff. Please listen to more stuff. Have your references be more than strange choral music, requiems and Proust. You know, you can do it. I believe in you. Well, bring your references into the 21st century. You
say that I added something called Scrobbler, is it, to my browser, so it keeps track of what I've been listening to, and like it is interesting. Like I do actually touch on quite a few genres, but I do want to keep expanding. Like because I've been making a conscious effort to listen to more recently. I will. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I've been doing the thing I said that we shouldn't do. Right, that's Cinema Critics Corner. Have another break if you're listening to this, because Jesus Christ, we've been at it for hours. It's time for Patreon Corner now. Top lad. So for this week's Patreon Corner, we have something of a special event because, well, Dan, would you like to explain your predicament?
Well, Simon, I'm so glad you've asked, and we're informing everybody else. So it's the last week of term here in Exeter, and it's the last cheesies of term, which is a night out in Unit 1, formerly Arena, which is a marvellous establishment. And Cheesy Tuesdays is basically a night of 90s to kind of 2000s bangers. And it's hilarious and a lot of fun. It's tonight, and we're still recording because if you haven't already sussed out, this is a bumper episode. So what I'm going to do is, rather than going to my prees, which I'll now be late for, I'm just going to start it here. We're just going to have prees now. So if you'd like to join, find a beverage of choice. Can be tea, can be water, can be a late bottled vintage port from 2012, which is what I'm probably going to kick things off with.
Well, you have a variety of things in front of you, am I right in saying?
Several things.
So what we're going to do is, for Patreon Corner, is I'm going to read out the list of patrons who have supported us as top lads, and Dan's going to decide what your name sort of sounds like in drink form, and then he's going to take a drink of what your name is like. We're going to get Dan drunk, basically. That's this week's Patreon Corner.
So, Simon, roughly how many patrons do you normally have in Patreon Corner?
30. We have 30 top lads.
Well, Dan, prepare for, I don't know, what's the correct scientific term here?
To get gazeboed?
You're going to get mate.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so let's kick things off. Thank you very much to the following people who support us on patreon.com/the Wikicast. Thank you to Mara Vakira Punyawat.
That's going to be Jägermeister.
Of course. Thank you to Fee Gascoigne.
Grey Goose vodka.
Oh, bloody hell, mate. I do not envy your stomach. Thank you to Henry Brewster.
Malibu.
Are you actually drinking these?
No, I'm not actually drinking. I'm just sipping on a slow gin.
No. That's not how this works, Daniel.
I do not have enough of a drinks cabinet to go through.
No. You've got to do at least one shot.
Well, no, not a shot. You have to take a drink, like a sip of what these respective people remind you of.
They've given you money. The least you can do is drink.
Right. Well, I've just emptied the rest of the slow gin into a pint glass. So.
Oh, what? You're doing this all in one?
That should. Well, no. I'll take a sip after each one. By the end of it, this should all be gone.
Okay. We like to drink with Daniel because Daniel is our mate.
And when we drink
pressure,
with
isn't it
Daniel,
wonderful
he
thing?
likes to masturbate. What? That's
nice.
How it goes. Thank you.
I'm still going to assign a drink to each listener, though.
I was going to say, for Henry Brewster, it's got to be beer. Anyway, thank you to Lewis Watson.
Angostura Bitters.
Thank you to Eric Davis.
Ooh. Eldorado Rum.
Thank you to Billy Toulson.
Kraken Spiced Rum.
How's this all going down, by the way, mate?
It's lovely.
Feeling
it's really,
good?
Really quite nice. Well, it's fine because this slow gin is f***ing delicious.
Oh, all right. Oh, we've got a lot more to get through. Thank you to Elliot Conway.
Absolute vodka.
Thank you to Ben McMurtry.
It's McMurty, Simon.
No, there's an R in there. There's 2 R's in there.
What? Or maybe I'm thinking of a different person.
It's already happened, folks.
I should. I mean, I knew him for. Oh, holy! Yeah, that's totally right. I've never said his name right. There we go.
I've been calling her Crandall. Oh,
I'm super sorry, Ben. That's my bad. Bundaberg rum.
You Bundaberg. Thank you very much to David Scahill.
Old Tom Gin.
Thank you to the Moustache Man.
Silent Pool Gin, my favourite gin.
Oh, and he's a lovely man. Thank you to Habiba Amjad.
Sipsmith Gin.
Thank you to Dan Hanvey.
Oh, now Dan's going to have something special. Dan can have the late bottled vintage port 2012 Taylor's Divine.
Oh, I mean, as is befitting. This is true.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Lachlan Woods.
Cointreau liqueur.
To John Mannion.
Edinburgh gin.
Ooh. Thank you to Nick Webster.
Baileys.
How much of that drink have you got left now?
About half.
A pint.
It's not quite a pint, but it's it's a tall glass.
Okay. So you're already quite a way in. Okay.
I'm quite a way in.
Thank you to Luke. We're about halfway through.
Oh no.
Thank you to Luke Thatcher.
Sake, rice wine.
I always thought it was sake. Independent adjudicator, Alex.
I'm pretty sure it's sake. Sake.
I've never been to Japan. I don't know.
Look,
Let's allow
us.
for pronunciation.
None of us are Japanese.
This is true. We are very not qualified to talk about this. Thank you to Simon Torseth.
Ginger beer.
Oh, you hear that, Simon? It's calling you a whatever. Thank you to Alex Greer.
Blackdown gin.
To Geordie Eschendahl.
Bombay Sapphire gin.
To Miles Kornfeld.
Sailor Jerry spiced rum.
Thank you to Matt Maguire.
Avion tequila.
I love how I can tell in your voice that you're regretting this.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, it's all right. It's what I'm here for. You're going to have a great time at Cheesy's.
Absolutely.
And you're going to better pull out a special one for this because it's thank you to Emma Kavanagh.
Emma Kavanagh gets... he says, looking over to the drinks...
Drinks Kavanagh.
Tennessee Honey Jack Daniels.
Ooh. Well, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Thank you to Jay Wright.
Potoki vodka?
If you think so. Thank you to Angela.
Hang on, let me just Google alcohol.
You can say the same alcohol again.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be unique.
Does it not?
No.
Oh, okay. Gin.
Thank you to Kieran Kelly.
Gin.
Thank you to Wonderful Stephen.
Gin.
Thank you to Tapio Kirkinen.
A nice red wine.
Thank you to Davy Shram Vontabel.
Gin.
Thank you to Simon Vase.
Whiskey.
And thank you to Azagu Nagapan Nagasaravanan.
Oh, see, Asago needs a special one.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be... Gelas Armagnac.
Oh, I don't even know what that is,
course.
but it sounds divine.
Nor do I, but Google said that was a good one to say, so there you go.
So thank you very much to all those who support the podcast. You make this possible, you pay for the hosting, you allow us to make merchandise, and you got Dan drunk. So
Hooray!
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure Dan will also agree.
Amazing.
And at a quick update on Team... Oh my good giddy aunt. What is wrong with you people? Because...
Come on.
Team Cat have got 31 patrons, but Team Dog have got 34 patrons.
Outstanding work, Team Dog.
Exactly. Well done.
Team Dog... Come on, Team Cat. Where are you? Back me up here, man. We need to... Oh, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Dogs are pack animals.
So...
Absolutely.
Well, Team Cat, if you would like to support the podcast and you can spare $1 a month to help to go towards our hosting and pay for our expenses, then go to patreon.com/the Wikicast and pledge your dollar to Team Cat, truly the superior household pet, and we will end the tyranny of the dog.
Fat chance.
Top lad! And we're back. So, for Crisis Corner this week, I have sent, we've anonymised an email that we've received with Crisis Corner in the subject line at spongyelectric@gmail.com. I've sent this to our fantabulous guest, Alex. And Alex, would you like to read out the crisis that one of our readers has found themselves in, and we will try and give some advice.
All right, boom, boom, boom. So, greetings, Messrs. Moore and Clark. It's Messrs, right? Not Masters?
Yeah, Messrs.
Messrs.
All right, boom.
Like
Greetings.
Messrs. Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs, throwback to earlier conversation.
Because of your autistic levels of Harry Potter knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Hey, your words, not mine.
Wow, Simon, that was so hurtful. Greetings, Messrs. Moore and Clark, and fantabulous guest. Thank you. I have one fat dilemma, fat with a PH, on my plate. It's a real hot mess. You see, when I was born, my dad hadn't been in contact with most of his family for more than 10 years, so he decided to name me after his father because he didn't think he'd ever see him again. However, a year later, my dad got back in touch with his family. Absolutely nobody likes my grandpa because he's been very cruel to every person on that side of my family. Also, he's just a colossal dick. As I wasn't given a middle name, My entire family calls me by a strange nickname. The relatives that know my actual name loathe it. Some of them think that I'm somehow cursed because I'm named after my scummy grandpa. They're very superstitious, and either pretend I don't exist or treat me like crap. Nearly everyone in my family has no idea what my actual name is. As a result of this, I hate it when people refer to me by my legal name. Many of my friends call me by another, more Western nickname at school because they know I don't like my legal name. I've mentioned to some of them that when I'm older, I'd like to make my current name a middle name and have a different first name. However, one of my friends, who's white, thinks I'm being a colossal wuss and that I should learn to accept and love my name. She's told me that I'm trying to make myself seem more white to assimilate into my white English and middle class as heck private school by having a more Western nickname. FYI, I am none of these things. If I were to change my name, it would certainly be a name that would reflect my ancestry. Despite having told her so, she has told me that because it sounds less obscure, she thinks that this is the case. I'm really unsure as to what I should do. My name has been a large source of grief for me as well as my parents. But should I adapt to this or spend the money and effort to get it changed? Thank you for taking the time to read this. Yours, Anonymous. So, whoever this person is, this is... Yeah, it's a pretty big dilemma, but it's not one that is uncommon. I know lots of people who've had issues like this. Yeah. Like, you're named after family, and like, you know, it's my family. I've got so many cousins, so many people, and you've got names that are passed down. So you have people with the same first names, and one of the people can be a prick. And you can get confused. I've got two cousins called, you know, the same first name. I'm not naming names because
one of them's a massive prick.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want that, but you know, so I get that. So one, you've got the family side of you know, being named after one's grandfather, who, your words, colossal dick. Also, the strange nickname thing. I get that. I've been called strange nicknames by my family. It's annoying. And I completely guessed the whole curse thing because, again, I get that. And your friend's calling you a more Western nickname at school, and that one friend thinks that you want to change your name. Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. I'm giving my opinion. I'll hold my opinion for a second. Simon, Dan, what do you guys think?
I mean, Dan, how drunk are you feeling right now? Should I take the lead on this, or should I let you go before you descend?
I mean, it's been about what, 15 minutes. I'm fine for now. But thanks for your concern.
You have like the anatomy of a bird. Like, stuff goes into your system very quickly.
This is true. I think in reference to Anonymous's email, I have been at international schools for the vast majority of my kind of like secondary education. So having friends in classes and knowing people who would just for ease's sake go by a Western name or change their name due to kind of weird family traditions. In fact, my own family is guilty of that weird thing. We have this strange tradition that the eldest son of the eldest son of the eldest son of the, right the way back to as far as we can go, of which I happen to be that person. We have the names Daniel and John passed down. So my dad's middle name is my name, and his dad's name is his name. It's all very, very strange. I happen to be one of the only ones who has both passed down. So it's a really weird thing. I think that your friend who says what is it they actually go on to say? Thinks you're being a wuss and should learn to accept the name. And thinks that you're trying to make yourself seem more white to assimilate into your kind of environment, might be not kind of like fully appreciative of all the things that you've mentioned. I think, you know, it's obviously whenever it's a family thing, there's such a tremendous amount of history and tradition that goes back that it's probably quite hard to explain to a stranger or someone who isn't part of that family the traditions that go along with it. The most important thing would be do what you want to do, whatever makes you most comfortable. It's a name is an incredibly personal thing. I've had friends who not because they didn't like their first name, but purely because their birth name is such an important thing to them that they don't like being referred to that, especially if it's a non-Western name. I had a friend at school in Australia who I'm still kind of in contact with, which is kind of nice. He comes from a Greek background, and his name was Spiridonis Nimerakiotakis, which, as you can imagine, at school, he was just ripped into 24/7. So he changed his name to Reese, which is kind of an interesting, very, very different name. But there are equally friends who I've had who've just not wanted to be called by their first name because they consider it so personal. The most important thing is you do what makes you feel comfortable. I mean, if people don't understand the background behind why you're wanting to change that, then either take the time out to see maybe having a longer conversation. If they still disagree, then it's your decision at the end of the day.
I mean, I'd say to the people that, like, there's this friend who's said, you're changing your name to be more Western or whatever.
White.
So yes, white, not Western. F them. Like, just don't care what other people think about it. In terms of, whether they think you're trying to be more white or not. Just if this is a personal thing to you and it's it's causing you grief because of an internal family issue. I mean, maybe this is a privileged position to say this, but I'd say who cares? Like, do what makes you happy. Like Dan says. I
think we both agree that whatever happens, the person needs to do what they feel is best. But rather than kind of disregard what that other person thinks, because they do say that it's a friend, maybe take this opportunity to educate and say, well, actually, you know what? I hear your response. Let me tell you why I'm still going to go ahead with this, because I feel like you don't fully understand the situation, because they may grow as a part of that conversation rather than just kind of shutting down all discourse. If you've already tried that, then absolutely just, try and put it out of your mind and do what you think is best. But if it was a friend of mine who was saying something like that, I would want to go like, okay, no, I kind of get that. And maybe the trying to make yourself seem more white, if it is a friend, is a kind of like, that kind of rough and tumble banter that you have at school that they may have misjudged. And then you because you're so close, you might be able to have a better conversation about it.
So as someone who's gone through stuff like this, yeah. So to the person who wrote in, for the person who said that you're trying to make yourself seem more white, fuck them, and fuck them. If they are a person of colour, maybe they're going through some identity things, or they have some issues that they're trying to work through. If they're white, tell them that they can stay in their absolute lane. It's not your job to educate. You're using enough emotional energy working on the fact that your family are giving you grief, and for you to have to spend more energy explaining to people why you want to change your name or make whatever decision you want to make. You don't need to do that. And if a person's coming to you, and if they do know your the background to it all, or even if they don't, if they value you as a friend, they shouldn't be saying stuff like that, because saying, oh, you're trying to be more white, that's a properly hurtful thing. That's completely disregarding one's identity and saying, oh, because you're doing this, you're white. Because you're acting like this, you're white. And you're in a white English and middle class private school. Stuff is already difficult enough for you as it is. So do not at all feel in any way like you have to educate these people or listen to sort of these people who you say are friends, who are giving you any sort of nonsense. If they do that kind of stuff, just cut them off, vomit, move on, live your life.
I mean, I feel like it's possible that the white friend, because I think they did specify, Anonymous specifies that they were white. It's possible that they're just ignorant. It's not like malicious. It's not, anything like. I mean, and I feel like if I was that friend and I was just being ignorant, I want to be told that I was ignorant and then have it explained to me. As Alex said, that is not your job to do that. You've got enough on your plate. But I don't know.
But it might be something you feel comfortable doing, given that you're friends.
Yeah, if you feel
that's the yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying that I'm incredibly conscious of not wanting to come across like someone being like, oh, like maybe you don't understand your friend's position. This friend sounds like a complete but I mean, to put it bluntly, but equally, I think regardless of that, I discourse, I think, can only help rather than just completely closing down any communication, because that friend is then going to go on assuming that, I said this thing and they reacted badly. Wow, that person's overly sensitive. Let's say if that was the scenario, if it was a friend of mine, and again, I'm coming at this from a completely different situation, and I can't possibly understand the kind of the intricacies of A, your relationship, and B, what you're feeling. But if it was a friend of mine, I'd want to kind of go, make it very plain that what you've said is hurtful. This is my situation, and this is why you, as a white person, might not understand. I can't see how that discourse can do any more damage. I think it can only serve to make that person just that person may either think if they don't get it after that, then okay, that's it.
Oh, I love you, Dan, my sweet summer child.
Well, I mean, no, I'm genuinely interested to see why you disagree so heavily. Like,
I don't disagree, but you're like, discourse, it can't make it worse. It can make it worse.
Have you ever tried talking to a racist?
Amongst two friends at school, I mean, discourse can't make things worse is very easily to kind of take as a generalized statement and then apply to something different. But in this specific situation, I genuinely can't see how that could make things worse between those two individuals there.
Yeah, it depends how close these people are. But from what this person said about the entire background and sort of how much emotion is wrapped up in the name, what one person thinks, an offhand comment like, I'm trying to make myself more white. And especially this friend who's saying that this person should learn to love and accept the name, is white themselves. They have no idea of this concept. They have no idea of what it's like to be a person of color in a predominantly white space, and to then be told you're acting incorrectly. Like, it's one thing, so me as a black man, to be told by other black people you're acting white. That's a completely different experience from, like, if Simon was like, hey Alex, you're acting super white. Because in both cases, a discourse would happen, but if it were Simon, it would be a lot more forceful. Simon's someone I consider a friend, but it would be a lot more like, what gives you the right to tell me how I am and my relationship with my name and my relationship with my culture and my relationship with my identity. How dare you even say that to me? And for you to even think that you're allowed to say that to me shows incredible arrogance and incredible sort of misunderstanding of what a proper friend dynamic is. Because saying, you're trying to make yourself seem more white is incredibly insulting.
Which is obviously very different than if you were to say to me after I turned up at the gym, you saying, wow, you're acting really black today. Because
even then, like, it's different. Like,
no. My point being, it is different because there's a power dynamic there, right? Like, I am in the majority.
It's like, and it's in some cases I can make generalizations. In other cases, you can make nuanced statements. But it's incredibly helpful. And if you're at school, if I'm assuming this person's at sort of secondary school, like, I remember myself going through secondary school in a predominantly white area, and it was, it's difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. And then to have this stuff, come from your family, as well as coming from people at school, it's a shit show. And so you can't, at least from my experience, I would not argue with my parents and my family and stuff, but you can choose your friends, and you can make it very clear that there are lines. And so coming in nicely about it and being like, maybe I'll just make you understand a bit more. Like, I don't know, your friend better, but what I found is it becomes a case of people don't listen, or they claim to listen. They're like, I understand. Sort of performative understanding, but don't really get it. So you just got to preserve that cup of energy you have. You have a certain amount of energy. and don't use it on people that would waste it.
At the end of the day, the only person that has the right to determine your identity is you. You're not beholden to any. It's not beholden to anyone. So, you do what is gonna. It's gonna make you happy in terms of founding this identity of who you are. And if that means changing your name, who gives a shit what other people think about it? Do it.
Exactly, and do it in the knowledge that you aren't alone. There are lots of people like you who've gone through it and who continually go through it. You're doing it at an incredibly young age, which is incredibly it's really, really great that you're thinking about it at this age, because there are people who can get to my age. I'm 25. People can get to mid-30s and who are still wrestling with the idea. And just remember, you aren't alone. If you do use things like Twitter, jump on your cultural diaspora Twitter and have conversations with people about it, and all of these things, you can find connections and you can feel less alone. And that's the worst feeling when you're going through identity things like this. It's feeling really alone.
Yeah, it's a kind of, in a way, it's almost kind of it's fitting for as an aside behind the scenes comment. One of the things that Simon and I discussed about wanting to have this kind of a crisis corner was as a space for people who might have had kind of have struggled with wanting to talk about something. And granted, you're not kind of so much having the conversation with us or with Alex, who's with us today, but just to be under the knowledge that that's a discussion that people are having. It's something that we're talking about now. I'm sure listeners will talk about it. We've mentioned before, the Discord is a really great place. It's a very strange place, but also there's a separate kind of thread within that for things that have been discussed in Crisis Corner, and there's always really, really interesting conversation that kind of goes along with that. It's nice that we've all agreed though that the most important thing is that you need to do you, as much as however close you are with this friend, as Alex said.
I feel like that's a common thread in Crisis Corner, is just do whatever makes you happy, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. If I don't know, what made you happy was going around kicking people in the face, don't do that. But if as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, do what makes you happy. That's life, basically.
In some cases, a small amount of hurting's fine. If it hurts this person that is saying all of these "I'm trying to make myself more white" things, just a small amount of hurting's fine. There, just you can cut them off very, very, very aggressively.
I feel like possibly the course of action that causes the minimal hurt whilst making you happy is probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, I'm glad that you were here for this one, because genuinely I picked that one completely at random. I didn't even realise that we had that one in, and I feel like I'm very glad that we had you here to discuss this, because you added a lot to it. Wow.
So I'm here for 15 years of bullying about my identity. I can jump straight on this,
and we're here for you, readers. But we should probably move on, because Dan's got a club to get to, and we've got some emails to read.
So it's that time again. We find ourselves
again, yes.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, my colleague. We find ourselves in Correspondence Corner. This is our final segment before, and I think I'm right in saying we have a fan fiction, Simon. Is that right?
We do, to round off the episode, a little chaser.
Amazing. But yes, we'll kick off with some correspondence from our dear readers. This first one's from Carl Forsell. The subject is Wikicast, so we can at least be sure that he's emailed the right podcast. He says, "Hello, Mr. Clark and Mr. Moore." The right read alphabetical order. Right is debatable, but we'll move on. He says, "My name is Carl, and I'm just checking in from Sweden. Long-time reader of the cast of the wiki, and kind of not recent follower of the most contentful YouTube channel. I mean, stop updating so frequently." It's a subtle jibe at how nothing ever happens on that channel.
Literally nothing.
But he says, first time I've ever interacted with a content creator, but I've not believed you guys will read until received my Wikicast t-shirt. It is truly amazing, even though you guys have reminded me of how awful I look in yellow. Simon, this next paragraph is directed to you.
Oh, right.
Simon, my father always says, bra spelare hartur, which is good players are lucky, which is something I have not given to much thought until you've uploaded your video about proactive serendipity. And it's truly something I have lived my whole life without even realising. Pro tip for everyone. He also says, have you heard of the physicist Marx Tegmark? His books Our Mathematical Universe and Life 3.0 is a big tip. If you haven't read them, they really put things in perspective.
I've not heard
Does
of them.
that ring any bells?
Actually, I've heard the names of the books, but I've not heard of the author before. Okay.
This next one is toward me. Dan, do you have any good reading tips for the summer? And when are you guys playing Kerbal Space Program again? I fell deeply out of love with Kerbal Space Program because for me a game is meant to be something fun and kind of semi-mindless, and for Simon it's not that at all.
I like the pain. I like the 12-hour games of Civ.
There's a reason why Simon plays that and I played World of Warcraft for about 8 years. I don't know when we're next going to play. Hopefully we'll find some time over the summer. I know we both have really busy schedules, but to get up and do some kind of live action.
Yeah, well now I actually have a decent internet connection. We can hopefully start doing some Twitch streaming.
Well, I should be up with you in the not too distant future because I'm going with this Homerton College choir tour thing that I'm depping for. I'll be staying with Simon for the rehearsals for a couple of days, so we'll probably be able to find time to do something then, even if it's just a kind of a Twitch Q&A or something, because that was super fun last time.
Yeah.
As far as reading tips for the summer goes, take the time. So when I think about reading for the summer, I would probably split it into kind of thirds and go 2/3 reading for pleasure and being able to take a break from what I'm having to read from an academic perspective. And then the final third in kind of lead up to the new academic year would be maybe kind of sinking my teeth into some of the larger texts that I've got set for my final year, just so it's not all so intense in one go. If you're not in that situation, then the summer is a time to kind of relax, so let that reflect in your reading. Do stuff that you're not having to read, or stuff that's really, really different. There's been some amazing titles recommended this podcast. So
I was going to say I would press Alex to join this discussion about books, but we've already gone really deep down that rabbit hole already.
Yeah. And there's a final question: when is the next beer mile, and how does one sign up?
Oh, you don't want to do that.
You don't. You really don't. Unfortunately, I didn't have to do it. I just had to kind of provide a running commentary. But
literally a running commentary, actually.
It was kind of semi horrific for all those involved.
Given your
hasn't quite recovered.
Given your drinking habits, Alex, I would invite you to do one, but I feel like you would absolutely hate it.
No, mate, I'm actually really, really good at sustained drinking while running.
Really? Is this something that's been tested before?
Yeah. Just when I used to drink, when did you guys start drinking?
Well, hang on, define drinking, because I remember having alcoholic drinks sort of occasionally from a very young age, but drinking socially?
Shenanigans.
14, 15.
I remember there was a first weekend where some friends. It was year 9 in Australia, so I would have been, I imagine, a similar age, 14-ish, where we'd go out and there'd be a group of people who might be drinking, I don't know, like the Alka Pop, kind of the Australian, basically the equivalent of VKs. In Australia it was Double Blacks, which was a Smirnoff based fizzy thing. I might have some of those, but not kind of properly. I think it was probably year 11, maybe a couple of years before, where it was more of a kind of prominent thing.
But I remember being given wine and cider to drink in the evenings by parents from the age of I don't know, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Oh,
really young.
Well, we had shandies in the pub.
Yeah.
If you went away, then I've got friendly. You give it to kind of a 7 or 8 year old. Oh, can I have a shandy? Yeah, okay, sure.
Wow. Okay. Did not have that, but I remember about 15, 16 in the park. Alka Pops, and 9 times out of 10, the police would get called on the massive group of us, and it would just be running while drunk.
Yeah.
Or slightly buzzed. So yeah, if I can do that in a park in South London, I can do it here in wherever a beer mile is.
Well, we'll have to set up a Science Communicators beer mile.
I've said I wanted that. I want it, so you have to do for every mile, or every how do you split miles down? Yards, whatever. however many yards. You have to take a
Quarters?
drink.
I don't know, like...
Yeah, you have to take a drink and then explain a science fact. So you get slightly buzzed while you do it. By the end, you'll be explaining quantum physics using like chips.
Like you get given the fact to explain. It's like explain a concept.
Yes.
You get given a card. Like, oh no, I like that. That's a good twist.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we do.
Well, we're going to do that. If you like the sound of that, readers, email in because that could happen.
Well, Carl, that answers the beer mile question. He rounds off by saying, thanks for the most genuine content and the best tangent handlers on the World Wide Web and the best of summerish wishes and pardon my horrible English, Carl, aged 6,934 sevenths weeks. Postscriptum, I am Team Cat, by the way. Dogs scares the crap out of me.
God, sorry. Your English was so bad I could barely understand any of that.
Yeah. Well, if you're Team Cat, then lend Simon a helping hand because they're currently being crushed under the adorable
absolutely
man's
mauled.
best friend might of Team Dog.
Being Darth Mauled at the moment. Yeah, tangent wranglers. I like
handlers.
I quite tangent handlers or I quite like the sound of tangent wranglers. It's like we've got it's like being in charge of a husky team, but instead of huskies, they're tangents.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's going to win the award, it's certainly us. I mean, what are we currently looking at for recording time? 2 hours, 43 minutes.
Hey.
Amazing. Perfect. Ever the professionals.
Yeah, we're really outdone ourselves this time.
I'm impressed.
Okie dokie. Right, should we read another email? So this one is actually relevant to Alex. So we have an email here from Rob Hebden. Dear Simon and Dan. I'm going to add Alex in there. My name is Rob. I'm a second year environmental science student at UEA. At the time of writing, I'm in my final week of second year, and I've been royally cucked by my exam timetable. As I have 3 exams this week. Sorry, mate. You're soy boy of a timetable. Your podcasts have been getting me through my fun and totally not soul-draining 10+ hour library sessions. Good on you, man. Keep going. I have a rather long question which involves my dissertation, but first some context, which I'm going to ignore. No, I'm going to have to read that. So basically, this is a biology thing, which is why I thought it'd be relevant for Alex. Over the summer, I will be doing some funky research in the field of bioinformatics, namely looking at transcription factors in a particular species of diatom to see if transcription factors are the principal reason for gene regulation.
Yeah, boy!
Is this anywhere near your ballpark, Alex?
This is my PhD.
Is it literally?
Yeah.
I thought it was cancer, specifically your PhD.
Yeah, well, my PhD is transcription factors in cancer cells.
Boom. Okay. So, let's go through this properly then. The diatom in question... Oh, Jesus, wet.
I don't care. It sounds environmental. I don't need to know that.
Fragilariopsis cylindrus has highly converged alleles? That's right, isn't it?
Alleles.
Alleles.
Yeah.
And can up-down regulate these alleles in correlation to different environmental stresses. My research will then be written up as a 10,000-word dissertation, and it's due in January. Now, if this isn't cool already, this research will be contributed towards a mega paper, which is hopefully going to be published. I'm lucky enough to have a kickstart in research, which is quite cool, yet very intimidating. I can completely understand where you're coming from. I had something kind of similar in physics. I am seriously lacking experience in the field of bioinformatics, and I'll be taught it over the course of 5 days, whilst having to do my research. Parentheses, which apparently isn't enough time, so I will be purchasing Bioinformatics for Dummies, which is a real book.
No. Don't get it.
I am somewhat doubting myself. So, have you tried it?
Yeah, it's trash.
Oh, well, can you recommend a book instead?
Literally learn science, Python for science. Science Python. It's a module, and it has great documentation online, and you can do so much more there. Go on to BioStars, which is like Stack Overflow, but for bioinformatics. Go onto the bioinformatics subreddit. Go onto the computational biology subreddit. I don't actually know what this person's going to be doing with their research. If they're just looking at transcription facts, I know exactly what they're doing. But anyway, keep going. Context.
Okay. I'm assuming that's not really what they're asking about, because they didn't know we'd have literally a PhD in the subject in the house. So they continue. I am somewhat doubting myself, as I have a very big project ahead of me when compared to some of my peers. The added pressure of a potential publication is the main reason. My supervisors believe I'm a very capable student and can successfully complete this research, but I just lack confidence in myself. If my research goes well, I'll most likely look into getting a master's in research in this field to see if academia research is for me, which is additional pressure. Simon, and I'm going to add and Alex, as successful PhD students, do you have any advice for overcoming this confidence issue? Confidence issues, Alex, go.
Okay, I am possibly the most confident person alive. All right, person, did they give a name?
It is Rob Hebden.
Alright, Rob, cool. I don't know you, but I feel as though we're connected through both bioinformatics and transcription factors. So I'm going to level with you. No one is going to expect you to be amazing. You're a second year undergraduate. Second year? Was he second year?
Yes, second year.
Cool, second year doing summer placement. We don't expect anything of you. If we can get through the summer without a second year undergraduate leaving the lab worse than it already is, it's great for us. Like that's a net positive. If we can just break even, that's fine. Chances are you'll be supervised by PhD students who have, like me, very little time on their hands. And so that's why they're giving you the bare minimum. But look, that's just the caveat to begin with. You can do some amazing stuff in that time. You can learn some amazing skills. So I've mentioned already BioStars, the bioinformatics subreddit, like those are all great places to find new skills. If you can contribute anything at all, that will be brilliant, okay? The best thing you can do at this point is learn basic lab skills, depending on what you're doing. If it's just computational, you're fine. But if there's some lab skills involved, just learn that. If you can, make sure you write stuff down, as always. Like, if the PhD person who's supervising you, or whoever's supervising you, only has to say it once, you will be, living the dream. But if you don't understand anything, feel free to ask them, because it's much better for you to do it right, than to get it wrong and not tell anyone. Also, look, you are an individual. You're creative. You listen to this podcast. That means you have some semblance of taste. Okay, look, for a much better podcast experience, come to Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet, where we've got, people with PhDs who talk about how much they hate themselves. But, right now, what you can do is get those skills. You can skill up. You can
level up.
Really, yeah, you can
You're
level
in the
up.
starting zone right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing. And no one's expecting you to be Einstein. No one's expecting you to be a genius at this. You are individual. You'll give your own unique perspective on this, and you will approach the problem differently to PhD students, to master's students, to even the supervisor in there. So even though you don't have the skills yet, you have a lot to offer. And don't feel like this project is going to make or break your academic career. It's just giving you a new experience. If it goes well, if it doesn't go well, it'll give you great experience, and it'll give you great sort of a life experience, life advice and stuff. Yeah.
Also, I just said he sent a link to the paper that it's being based off of, his project. Okay. It's a Nature paper, so that's obviously not helping the confidence issue. You're not going to be writing a paper for Nature. It doesn't have to be Nature standard. Don't worry.
Come on, yeah, man. Don't relax, right? It's fine. I have lots of papers in my inbox that I'm reading that are from Nature, from Cell and stuff, and the journals that I publish in are much lower in impact. They're things like biochemistry or PLOS ONE. Do not fret at all. No one really cares about impact factor, and the people that do, they're pricks. Yeah. Let's keep it funky. They're pricks, and that's not the kind of person you want to be. Have a life. That means don't be governed by impact factors. You contribute what you can contribute, and you are not there to be a slave. You are there to be a contributor, and don't let anyone work you into the ground.
At the end of the day, it's you've imagine that this is you've been invited onto a film set by Steven Spielberg. He's not going to expect you to take the camera and make the next Schindler's List, right? just go in there and do the best you can as an individual, and don't expect yourself to be at the level that these people are at and to learn years and years and years of material in 5 days.
Yeah, because
do the best you can do as in the position you're at, and just work. It'll be fine. Don't stress. It's gonna be okay.
And if you are like considering doing an MRes like in that lab, take a look around and see how the people in there interact with one another. Like, you want to get a good lay of the land into what a good lab is and isn't, and where you want to be for, let's say, a year of an MRes, or if you do want to go further into academia, like a PhD. So you are as much of an asset as the experience is an asset to you. Remember that. And then
to round off that email, Rob says, apologies for the long email. Well, no worries about it. I hope you have a cracking day. Sincerely, Rob, at the time of writing, aged 6.280416 times 10 to the 17 nanoseconds. I dig the precision.
Your fans are pricks.
Oh, no, we're all slagging them off.
No, honestly, like, the Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet fans come with a healthy amount of self-hatred. So they don't do any of that stuff.
Well, to be fair, we specifically asked
our fans are encouraged to leave the most obscure age thing. I mean, if anything, they're just following orders. They're all right. It's us. It's Simon and I who are the pricks here.
The classic defense of they were just following orders.
Wow. I mean, I'm not gonna say this is why Aren't You a Doctor Yet finishes the recording in 55 minutes. And we're at 3 hours now.
Yeah,
but
this is a 3-hour episode.
Might be a reason. Just putting that out there.
It's probably because we're such professional podcasters. Incidentally, professional podcasters who the co-host who suddenly realised this massive science chat was getting massively boring for him. I've just been drinking more gin and reading Milton, and it's been really pleasant.
That's Dan.
Ooh.
Right. Well, I've just had a look at the fan fiction which has been sent to us, and I can't actually open the attachment.
Oh no! What a shame.
No, genuinely, and I'm not even making this up. It's from the Moustache Man, and it's the Virtual Adventures of Simon and Dan.
I guess we're gonna have to save it till next week. Bye, everyone. So, Simon, what have we learnt today?
I don't know. Hang on, we've got a script. Jesus, what's the script? That's me. So, Alex, what have we learned today?
We've learnt that Simon can't eat vegetables that are shaped like meat, and that Dan is a race apologist.
And about highways called 221.
Oh yeah, wait.
And about that big one that goes from Florida to Virginia?
Wait a minute, 221, that's Sherlock Holmes' address, isn't it? 221 Baker Street.
Baker Street, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Simon, he's a fictional character.
I know, but do you know he's the most popular? He's been adapted the most times in film. I learned that today. Second most was Dracula. The most adapted is Sherlock Holmes. Little fun fact. What else have we learned? That if someone tells you you're changing your name to make yourself more white, f*** them.
Oh yeah, completely.
We've had some amazing music recommendations. We had a hefty chat about book recommendations too. We briefly mentioned in Crisis Corner, as I tried desperately to lasso conversation back onto the regular structure, Grand Budapest Hotel. If you haven't seen it, go. It's brilliant. Check out all of Wes Anderson's stuff.
Yep.
I will definitely be checking out the music recommendations from Alex. They've been amazing.
Also, Pollen can do one, and poppadoms are amazing, and I now need to start ordering more, apparently. Also, Dan's learned what poppadoms are.
Yeah, prawn crackers, delicious.
And I've just learned that the Just Eat order that I put into my basket wasn't ordered.
Oh, you muggle!
Rip in peace.
Rip. Oh. Well, that's all for this week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcasting service of choice. You can like us on Facebook, and if you'd like to see our faces, check out our YouTube channel, Spongy and Electric.
Different music recommendations, your thoughts when you've watched Grand Budapest Hotel, and other thoughts on the show can be sent to us at spongyelectric@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Alex.
Yeah, that is generally what I do. If you like podcasts that are based around science but then go into pop culture and comedy, you'll love Why Aren't You a Doctor Yet? You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Why Not a Doc, and on all good podcasting apps. Send us a tweet or whatever saying that you heard us here, and I'll send you a GIF or something. Join us again for another tumble down the wiki rabbit hole,
and we'll see you next time.
Now, which button on Audacity should I press? Stop.